Hello, everyone. Oh my god. Oh my motherfucking god. That was... Oh, I just swore in the first 30 seconds. That's not... I'm not supposed to do that. Wow, that was so... Oh boy, that was rough. Oh boy, that was rough. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Ask Hans for the Vond. I wasn't able to local record the whole thing. God, that was so rough. I know, you're right. Please make sure to like the stream again. Please make sure to like the stream again. Because we lost all the likes from the first stream, unfortunately. Boy, that made me feel bad. I don't know what the hell is up. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to have to figure it out. Oh, thank you, girl boss. Oh, Marcy, you're wonderful. There you go. You're all good. You're all good. Ah, whatever. That was funny. Do you feel bad for picking on a child? I didn't know he was a child. I treated him with respect to the best degree that I could. Hey, listen, nothing stops a kid from being from making arguments for segregation. Oh, I was super hype. Silent, totally. Thank you so much, Silent, for copying over that section of the that was such a good call on your part to copy over the you predicted. Silent, so Silent helps me with research a lot of times as far as finding specific resources that I don't have time to put together while I'm getting ready for stream. And Silent predicted in advance that we would use we would need to quote the actual law, and I had that exact quote right there. Oh, wow, that felt good. Damn, Silent. This is why I pay Silent. This is why I pay Silent to be my researcher, because as it turns out, it helps a lot to have, when you're an ADHD motherfucker, it really helps a lot to have somebody who can help you. Yeah, I told you. Summer Discourse is bad. The Smegma Institute. Oh, that was so good. Yeah. Well, I mean, inevitably, the viewership numbers are going to be toasted for tonight, but we did what we could. We did what we could. We did what we fucking could. Didn't we? Didn't we do what we could? We're not going to get the... I don't think we're going to get the Twitch viewers. I don't think. Back. But we'll see what happens. All right. Let me just take a few minutes to just catch my breath here. And then we'll have Gutter Bunny on to talk about furry stuff, because that's really fucking important to me. By the way, Piftle Cakes, thank you so very much for that dono. Thank you to anybody whose donos I missed. Piftle Cakes, thank you so much for each of those donos. Really, really appreciate it. Means the world to me. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, my show is free and viewer supported. So donations literally help me pay my bills. When I take time off, I don't get paid on my time off. That's just not how these things work. So I pay a big price for every vacation I take. So if you can support, That means the world, but I will continue making free content for you as much as I possibly can. So thank you very much for those who can. Never feel pressured to donate, but if you can, consider it like giving a tip to your local band at a bar, okay? For $5, I entertain you for hours. Hopefully it will be a segment at some point. We're gonna need to probably edit it from somebody else's. We'll have to see how it goes. Honestly, maybe we should just make a highlight of that one. Reza Sutra, thank you so very much. Oh god, that was so embarrassing. I don't know what the new trend of just saying fallacies is. T-Jump does that too. I mean, T-Jump is just like dangerously stupid. And by dangerous, I mean dangerous to himself. Like, I actually worry about T-Jump's ability to like live a daily life. Hasty generalization fallacy, genetic fallacy. Pokemon, gotta excite them all the fallacies. That was an embarrassment. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know. At least we had fun anyway. At least we had fun anyway. Thank you so much, Ivy Evans. Really appreciate that. The fallacy. Yeah. The fallacy of fallacy citing. Oh, boy. Piftle Cakes, thank you so very much. Seriously, really means the world. Thank you so much. People don't really understand that, like, fallacies aren't just, like, a fallacy does not mean, like, it's not an insta-win. It doesn't mean that you proved anything. Just citing a fallacy doesn't mean anything. Fallacies are just commonly used lapses in logic. They're not like a law. There's not like a law that says this fallacy is wrong, or that if you say it's a fallacy, that it actually is that fallacy. Fallacies are just, like, they're just bad argument structures that are common. That's all that it means. It's like people will be like the ad hominem fallacy when it's like, no, I'm insulting you. An ad hominem fallacy is when you substitute an insult for an argument. And it's not when you insult somebody. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. People just don't get it. They just hear smart words they think sound smart, and then they think they can cite that at you. It's like they use it like, oh, hey, thank you so much, Ash KLW. Really appreciate that kind words. Thank you. It was, yeah, what was I going to even say? Hey, Pansabi, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Mama, true. Ironically, calling out a fallacy as an argument is in and of itself a fallacy. Of course it is. Anyway, it was really funny. You know what? Highlight of the day. Highlight of the day goes to when I asked Cut Sleeves to define what a cross-sectional was, and he didn't even know. He didn't even know. He said that so many times. Excuse me, that was directed at me. Hey, what about me? Me. And then he was deliberately not directing things to me while directing them to me. Oh, I'm the radical left. It was just a mess. My technical issues prevented me from having a really good time. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Oh, I need to Google it. Yeah. Also, I love that he was like, you're a racist. Oh, you're a racist. You're a racist. Oh, God, that blog result was so funny. We demolished that person. That was so stupid. Yeah, literal ad hom. No argument, just said I was a racist. Okay. Fuck. All right. Shall we have a conversation with Gutter Bunny? Shall we have a conversation with Gutter Bunny? Let's make it happen. I want to make this happen. I'm excited. Let's do this. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Let's make it happen. Just, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Gutter Bunny, welcome. What are your pronouns?
Shit.
All right, excellent. And let me just make sure I got your Twitch link correct here real quick. Or sorry, not your Twitch link, your Twitter link. Right, your main platform is Twitter, right?
Correct.
Okay, let me just get it up here. Here we go. Okay, it's very simple. At Gutter Bunny. There you go. Twitch, oh my God, I'm so used to saying Twitch. Jeez, my brain is melting. There we go. We'll get this up on screen for you. Bam. There we are. All right, Gutter Bunny. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk with us about furry stuff. You are a prolific and incredibly talented furry artist who I'm very, very excited to announce I have commissioned, which I'm very excited for. But also your art is just breathtakingly awesome. And everybody who doesn't believe me, go check it out. Go to twitter.com/gutterbunny and see for yourself exactly what I'm talking about. I wanted to give you an opportunity to sort of introduce yourself and your position. I kind of gave you the general introduction, but to talk about, who you are, where you stand on things, and what you're most interested in talking about today. Obviously, I've read over your thing, but for the purpose of the audience.
Yeah. So basically, I'm Gutter Bunny, and here I'm going to talk essentially about furry rights, the most important issue of today. Honestly, I caught that panel you did earlier, and frankly, I thought all the topics were just hailed in comparison to the most pressing issue, which is sort of furry rights at the moment.
I mean, I personally think that furry rights are a important issue, and perhaps so I'm clear when I say furry rights. We're not usually talking about just like legal rights, like having an anti-furry discrimination bill or something like that. We're talking about social rights. It's like when we say trans rights.
It's more of a social thing, particularly sort of an online social issue.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that I think should be taken a wee bit more seriously. Like, not the most serious thing in the world, mind you, but like,
no need to downplay.
I do think there are sort of like other genuine like factors that are like there are underlying factors that go into a lot of furry hate that I think reflect a lot of sort of like reactionary tendencies.
Why am I getting Fs? Oh no, I'm getting Fs in chat. Is it dying again? Is my stream dying again? Oh my God, I'm gonna scream if that's the case. It can't be. I'm so sorry. Is it dying again? There's lag? Hold on. Oh my God, what is going on? I'm so sorry about this. I have no idea what's happening with my...
Yeah, you're having technical issues on the panel too.
Yeah, it's been bad. Like, I'm looking at my computer here and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is causing this. And there doesn't appear to be anything. Oh, I'm so sorry. This makes me feel so bad. Okay, let's try now. Let's hope it stays now. Okay. Good. Okay, it seems to have been settled. It's not an internet speed issue. It's something else. Video's a bit choppy. Well, we'll see. Maybe Discord is causing these issues, because that's the one thing that I've been having issues with. All right, let's continue. I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry.
All right. Okay, so what were we talking about?
Sorry, you were setting up why you think furry issues are important online.
Yes. Okay, so you want me to basically like start paraphrasing from my notes?
Please, yes, please.
I might just like read this out because I'm a bit shaky. I'm a bit nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't worry. Everyone here is at the very least open and many of them, we have a lot of furries in our audience, and I am here to cheer you on. Yes, we have a lot of viewers, but they are really cool people. The imps are wonderful.
All right, so let's see. First, let's give some general background. I've been a furry since 2011, so about like roughly 10 years now. Now that I've sort of been like calling myself a furry and like been like making furry art, I suppose. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been sort of a part of this subculture early enough to sort of catch the tail end of the "Yif in a Hell" meme,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of the classic like furry, uh, sort of like furry resentment from like the old Wild West era of the internet.
Yeah.
And like what most like and what always caught me off guard and what always sort of like confused me and like struck me as very strange was the sheer amount of like disproportionate vitriol that like furries tend to get. It wasn't like a it's not like a hey, this isn't my thing, you kind of thing, but it's like it was almost like a sort of like pissing contest to see who could like make or do or like say the most fucked up things against like furries.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of throwing around of the word degenerate, a lot of that. I mean, furry degenerates is almost a meme in and of itself, right? Which is pretty horrible to say. And one thing that I've gotten really mad about on stream is like people who equate being a furry with like bestiality, which is like animal abuse.
Yeah, that's
Um,
something that happens, and it's always like, and it's always confused me.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, I mean, again, we see this with all kinds of other, gender and sexual minorities that just because you're different, certain people will basically take that as a opportunity to say that you must be bad. And yeah, it's really unfortunate. And I think it does cause harm. I think it causes a lot of harm. I think the sort of like almost normalization of it. I mean, hell, we, I don't know how long you followed my content, but I once had this very, very, this debate that's probably my most watched debate of all time, that started as a meme debate, or a quote unquote meme debate about furry rights. And of course I was in the pro furry, camp, and I thought it was a meme.
Really?
And
Could I have a link to that?
yeah, absolutely. That would be the RGR debate, which people can
Oh,
provide a link to.
wait. I've seen the RGR debate. I
Yeah, you
have.
probably have only seen the
That
end of it. I
was.
don't know if you saw the beginning of it where we started
Uh,
talking about furry stuff, but
I saw the video that was posted on RGR's channel.
yes. See, we didn't post it, but we do have it up now. I can get you a link afterwards if you remind me. But it started as a debate about furry rights, and in that argument, I said that I think that furries deserve just as much rights as anyone else. Just because, and then I found out that this was not even an ironic position, and that that RGR held, like she actually thinks furries are bad. And
Wait, RGR actually thinks furries are bad?
to some degree, yes. She
Oh,
implied that
wait.
pretty strongly later on.
How so?
I mean, I would recommend you watch the debate and see how it turns out. It's like my exact quotes are. I mean, yeah. Also, then she had a really bad take on kink, as well. So, I mean, it doesn't seem particularly surprising to me. But yeah, she's made a lot of jokes about it, in that way. But again, the acceptability of these types of jokes towards furries just seems to me, in a lot of cases, to mimic that of homophobia and transphobia, and other types of prejudiced behavior. I think that in some ways it expresses itself differently, well, I mean, and in other ways it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, we all know the infamous gas attack at Midwest Fur Fest, which
Yeah, I remember saying something
is
about that.
that is a terrorist attack that was done, targeted against furries, people
Was
who
that
weren't harming
actually
anybody.
was that like confirmed to be an attack, or was it like or was it
Um,
some like negligent janitor who just like left the chlorine out or something?
No, the amount of chlorine gas that was produced, is way more than just an accident. There's almost no chance. I don't think they ever figured out who did it, but Let's be real. Like, the amount of gas that was released is way more than it could have been an accident. So, yeah.
Well,
They
good.
were
I'm glad that
specific. Yeah,
we've.
they had later on found specific devices. Yeah, the narrative that some people push is that, oh, it was just an accident, but that doesn't make any sense given that 19 people were hospitalized and there were multiple areas that were set up to produce the gas. Oh, they did track it in the end. There you go. Tracked it back to a neo-Nazi. Okay, interesting. Yeah, there's a
A
lot more.
neo-Nazi.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but
No, it doesn't surprise
the
me
Huar Bear.
either.
I was at that con. I was out of the main hotel when it happened because we were staying at the nearby NBC Suites. Well, I'm very happy you're safe. A lot of people got sick there.
I've never actually been to a con.
Yeah,
fun.
well, I've been to a couple cons. They're pretty fun. I've never been to a fur con, but I have been to some gaming cons and stuff like that. A couple of them. So, but yeah, one thing that I think that we can both agree on is that there's a significant overlap between queer communities of various types and the furry communities online. Almost every single furry I've ever met
Yeah,
has
not
been
only
queer.
that, but not only is there a strong overlap between the furry and the queer community, but there's also a strong overlap between furries and those who are neurodivergent
Mm-hmm.
too. I've
Yeah.
noticed,
Mm-hmm.
or at least I've heard it said that a strong contingent of furries are actually like somewhere on the autism spectrum,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean
which is
that's
why
true. Yeah.
there's this like meme going on within the furry fandom currently that that furry hate is thinly veiled bigotry against like queer people, but I think it runs deeper than that. There are a few things that I tend to notice. Uh, there are a few things that I tend to notice are sort of the roots of like furry hatred. It's a fear and hatred against what's perceived as sexual deviancy, hatred
Mm-hmm.
and contempt for those who are neurodivergent, and the typical like bigotry towards queerness.
Yeah.
And like this sounds like very like far fetched, but if you go to like Kiwi Farms or 4chan or any other such type of drama site that has like that talks about like individual furries, you'll notice that a lot of the the shit that gets lobbed at them isn't just like bestiality accusations or like sorry, or like accusations of sort of like quote unquote sexual deviancy, but a lot of the furries that get targeted by these groups tend to also either be neurodivergent or queer, and visibly so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's remarkably common. It's I mean, I think it's a very obvious reasoning that the hatred of quote unquote deviancy, which of course is always a matter of subjective opinion and usually falls back along the same lines, but the hatred of deviancy, of difference, is such a
It's
I mean, it is the
reactionary.
fuel. Yeah, it's reactionary, and it fuels so much of what we understand to be prejudice. And
Furry hate, I guess you could call it, is pretty much indicative of reactionary tendencies as a whole. So if there is that sort of like fear and hatred of deviancy, well,
Mhm.
that's more correlative with like conservatism.
Yeah,
So
and
like
I
the
mean,
people who tend to hate like who tend to like look at furries with disdain the most are probably mostly like conservatives or centrists or something.
yeah, I mean, I think also that I think that those are the people who push it out a lot and normalize it, and then a lot of people just get on board unintentionally because they just don't think about it. That's how these
Yeah,
things work, right? Like, I mean, if you've ever seen, I mean, I'm trying to reach for the most obvious like pop culture example, but if you've ever seen the movie like Philadelphia, there's like a scene, there's this one really poignant like scene where there's like corporate homophobia, and there's multiple scenes like that, but there's one that takes place when like all of the partners of this law firm that the main character, who's gay, works with, and like he goes into the sauna, and like all the people there are just making like jokes about gay people, and he's like just sitting there really uncomfortable. And that type of normalization is required in order to and even though it's driven usually by genuine homophobes or prejudiced people, it often gets picked up and pressured into by that sort of like social pressures into being adopted by people who don't even necessarily have a strong prejudice, but they build one over time.
What's that called? Scholastic, stochastic,
Stochastic, yeah, stochastic, yeah,
stochastic terrorism. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, stochastic terrorism usually refers to like ultimately inspiring sort of like lone, quote unquote, lone wolves with hateful rhetoric. But this absolutely applies, right? I mean, again, there was a terrorist attack on a FurCon, like
A neo-Nazi terrorist
yeah,
attack.
and yeah, like and we see that like obviously this type of hateful rhetoric can lead to the creation of like a scapegoat or whatever. And that's the thing. When somebody is viewed or determined to be in our society, we see all deviance as bad, even though there is all kinds of deviance, whether it be having red hair or being left-handed or being gay or being a furry or being into kink. These are all things that could be considered deviance by one person or another, but deviance alone is not necessarily bad. But our society, there's a constant pressure from the right to convince people that all forms of deviance are bad. If you don't adhere to their MAGA ideology, whatever America was, if you don't adhere to that, they hate you for it, and you are just as much capable of becoming a target, as we see with furries. And I imagine you've probably endured quite a bit of vitriol online. Even, I assume you're relatively relatively anonymous with regard to your like IRL identity. I don't know if that's entirely true, but that's usually my assumption with most people online. But I'm sure that you've had some thrown against you, given what you told me before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd say that like, I don't know. Like, I usually see a lot of like fake. I think I'm a little bit lucky because I don't get that much furry hate, but like, I see it a lot. I see it happening to other people a lot,
Yeah.
which is concerning. And I just see a lot of like.
I mean, I got it on my post about this morning. Like,
Yeah. There was that one this morning. Yeah, that was
I posted
weird.
this morning, and some right winger just came out of nowhere. I don't even know who they are. They don't even follow me. Came out of nowhere and started doing like a string of furry hate, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Fawn says, yeah, like, I mean, that's something I've seen a lot. Something that I've cracked down on, even among. I've even seen it come from good-natured members of communities that I belong to, making small jokes about furries and whatever. But these things contribute to a larger atmosphere of hate. And one of the things that I have talked about again in the past, and I think I mentioned this before, we didn't really go in full depth, is this idea that like a lot of times like extreme furry hate is a vehicle by which other forms of prejudice are delivered. And you mentioned, like, with regard to autistic, I mean, I think that's completely true. Like, there's a reason why, like, furries were targeted as, like, a big part of, like, cringe culture. Because it's, like, something that people don't understand, and they don't get it. And to them, it's, quote-unquote, cringy, and that means it's okay to make fun of them. It's okay to mock them, to stalk them, to dox them, which we've seen all over the place. I mean, Kiwi Farms, again, and not just this one, but there's like Encyclopedia Dramatica is a website that, like, has dossiers on well-known furries. It's ridiculous. And then those people who never asked for a spotlight of that degree end up traumatized and then further get bullied, and they can never escape it. I mean, there's all kinds of people you could point to with this. I mean, some people would bring up like the obvious examples, like a CWC or something like that, which is Christina Weston Chandler.
Christine.
Sorry, Christine. I thought it was Christina.
What she calls herself nowadays.
Yeah, and like what happens is that like somebody is thrust into the public eye, and then any further, like, if they ever even fuck up again, that is used as or whatever they are. And I mean, I think that like CWC has had like she's had some pretty bad like public confrontations and stuff where I think that like she was in the wrong in certain cases. But again, that's after years of being constantly hounded, stalked, provoked, mocked, doxed, and sent hate mail and all kinds of things. Like I can't entirely blame somebody for not being able to have a full handle on their social life when they've been the target of millions of angry internet teenagers' ire who are willing to do basically anything. You know what I mean? And it leads to this again, and then it just so happens, CWC is autistic and trans. And yeah.
Yeah, those are
It's funny how that works,
definitely,
right?
factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that, and I think that it's important, at least in my mind, to discourage people to have like a knee-jerk reaction to quote unquote deviance. I think there is this. I think we saw this even in the Kink at Pride discourse, which of course rages every single year.
Yeah, I remember seeing a little bit of that. Remember that one thing, but I remember seeing a screenshot by this one guy named Mouthy Buddha, who like he was being shown a picture of like two shirtless dudes in like shorts, and he was being asked, "Hey, is this all right? Is this okay?" And like Mouthy Buddha was like, no, not really." And it was just like two dudes in like what amounted to like swim shorts. They were
Yeah, I think
like
it was,
not
I think it
even
was
like
Mouthy Infidel.
Speedos.
Mouthy Infidel.
Yeah, Mouthy Infidel. Did
Yeah,
I say Mouthy Infidel?
I think you said Mouthy Buddha, which I think is somebody else, but it's Mouthy Infidel.
That's somebody else. He was a the other guy's like alt-right YouTuber.
Yeah, Mouthy Infidel. And yeah, I mean, obviously I think Mouthy Infidel is a bit of a goofball. But I do think that we see that sort of thing, right? Which is that, like, I don't know, it starts with making fun of one thing. It starts with saying, oh yeah, this is like fucked up and it makes me cringe or it makes me feel weird and therefore it shouldn't be in public. And then all of a sudden you have, you can't wear short shorts in public. You need to be decent at all times. And it's just like, maybe we shouldn't have we shouldn't tune our culture and our society to be so immediately judgmental to anyone who we see as different than us, such that we justify bullying them, that we look the other way when horrific bullying happens, when harassment, when I would say emotional abuse and torture happens. Like, I mean, I think that, like, being a veteran of the internet, I'm a old lady by internet standards, but I've seen people get destroyed over nothing, and it makes me sad. I don't think this is the type of world that we should encourage. And I mean, what do you think about that? Like as with regard to like the bigger mosaic of the social atmosphere in America.
Yeah, I'd love to like sort of curb that sort of like knee-jerk reaction to like anything different, because that happens a lot to like other subcultures too. Like it happens a lot to like goths, it happens to like punks and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
As well. And like personally, in my worldview, I'm incredibly like, I wouldn't say like individualistic, although that might be it, but I'm very like individual focused.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when individuals are like free to basically express themselves how they wish. Personally, I hold freedom and like authenticity as like sort of like my highest principles, my axioms, if you could.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily like even individualist. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing. I mean, after all, you don't have to be an individualist to recognize that humans are individuals that engage in social systems. We have our own interests, and I think we build better social systems when we acknowledge that, like, hey, people are different, and just because they're different, or you don't necessarily understand it, or even if it like doesn't make sense to you or makes you feel weird, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing harm. And I think that's one of the things that often gets sort of it gets sidestepped, is like actually saying, okay, well then what sort of harm are you arguing? Why should this be okay? Why should we stand by and say, hey, like, you're treating somebody badly, like, shouldn't we make that like no matter who you are, we shouldn't treat you like badly just because of something like that? Like, sure, if you're somebody out there advocating for like genocide or something, yeah, you deserve to be pushed back against. You deserve to be, challenged. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking somebody's personal aesthetic preferences and the things that they choose to do with other people that does not cause any harm by its default. And yet it is framed as though it does. Being a furry is often framed as though it is like dissolving the moral fabric of our society. And you see this in these rants that people go on, like, the furries ruined the internet and blah blah blah, and the furries are ruining America and everybody's a furry and all this stuff, and it's just
It's
used
almost
as
like
shorthand.
if in America there's sort of this base fear towards anything that isn't productive.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Of course, for sure. I mean, that is
Like
overwhelmingly true. Yeah.
being a furry or being goth or being punk isn't viewed as it's viewed as something sort of like frivolous at its base and like not like productive, ergo not important. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's that whole thing. I mean, that happens all the time, and that's something that really frustrates me. In fact, I mean, when I've talked to people, one of the things that about multiple issues, by the way, when I've talked about plurality, when I've talked about polyamory, when I've talked about furry issues, when I've talked about hell, like, I mean, even in some conversations, trans issues, they're like, well, that's not as serious as this. It's not as, and sometimes we even do it to ourselves. But the reality is that these problems have the same roots. They come from our cultural approach to certain things. And to me, like, a culture that thinks it's okay to just be mean to people or to mistreat people or to look down on people because they wear a fursuit or they draw art of anthropomorphic creatures, animals or whatever. Like, I think that that's indicative of a society that is very punishing and cruel towards any sort of deviance. And we see that carried out in acts of homophobia. We see that carried out in acts of abuse, of rampant abuse towards autistic people and neurodivergent people, ADHD people. I don't really see these things as particularly separate issues. Like, you might be able to go and say, yeah, maybe it doesn't really make sense for us to pass like a law that says like furry people are part of Title IX or whatever. But let's be real, those types of laws are like
the pro furry bathroom bill.
Yeah, pro furry bathroom. I mean, honestly, I think that the current laws already protect that. So as long as they're not outlawing it, that's great. I don't think there's any law anywhere that says you can't wear a fursuit into a bathroom, which is good, because you should be able to if you need to. It's a bathroom, like, what the fuck. But like, I think a lot of times, again, like, what we're talking about is the approach that we have, and I think that the approach that we see online is just disgusting. Frankly, it's painful and it's saddening. And I don't know, when I talk about this, a lot of people tend to speak up. You're one of them, who has when I've talked about these issues in the past, people say, yeah, like, this is something that caused me a lot of pain, and I believe in taking that seriously. And yeah,
we should take people's pain seriously.
Yeah, I think we should.
Perfect.
Yeah, I really liked one of the things that you said in here, in your sort of notes that you sent to me, which is that let me see if I can find the well, I just lost my place.
Should be in your Twitter DMs.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now.
Although I do have like a slightly updated version that I could screenshot and send to you.
Oh no, that's fine. I was just there was a line that I was looking at, but now I've lost track of the line. I'm looking at it right now, but I just lost track of the line that I was looking for. If I find it again, I'll bring it up. But yeah. I do like that you brought up, and that we've talked about this a little bit, but that the deviancy by default, that's something we touched on this panel, right? The last topic that we talked about was this PA law, and there's a lot of focus on, well, nobody's enforcing it. Well, it doesn't matter. You have written into the law of a state, into the code of a state, that by default gay people are obscene, and that is absurd. That is an absurd claim.
Just because they aren't enforcing it now doesn't mean they won't start.
Right, exactly. And also that doesn't mean that they won't start, but also even on a social level, the fact that you think it's okay, that we think it's okay to just stand by while a state law states that somebody is degenerate by their nature is ridiculous to me. And of course, there's all kinds of other, I mean, in that law there was all kinds of
It's
other things that were
it's kind
questionable
of
as well. I
like
mean, like,
it's kind of hard to believe that like abolishing this kind of law is something to even be debated about. It's like it's almost unreal. It's like no, then that's a no-brainer, guys. That's
yeah, Doe Acelaces in chat brings up, there's a really common line that really bothers me about how you're not a quote unquote, you're not oppressed because you can't wear X, act like X, etc. That especially has reared its head during kink at Pride. That's incredibly frustrating because the position is that you don't have to act like this in public, a purely liberal framing of how we should protect others in public. And it's incredibly frustrating how it's used to hide the fact that what they really think is, I don't care if you get discriminated against. And I mean, that's true, right? Like, I mean, people think that, oh, it's a choice in the matter. Well, there was a time in our history, I mean, right now, there are a lot of people who think that being trans is a choice, that being gay is a choice. And because of that, they justify, well, because
there are
in our
still
minds,
people who think it's a choice.
oh, of course there are. And what my argument has always been that, okay, so you think it's a choice. That doesn't matter. There are all kinds of things that are choices. That doesn't mean that we should be subject to mistreatment. Does that make sense? And that's been one of the arguments. And some people get very mad at me. I've had a lot of people say that this is like bad optics or whatever because it like plays equivalency or something between furries and trans people or something. But I don't think it does. I don't think that's true at all. I think people like
it's not so
jump to
much
that.
an equivalency. It's not two separate like issues on like separate pillars that are being like weighed together.
Right.
They're interlinked.
Of
Furry is
course.
basically is basically like a safe and welcoming space for these like marginalized identities.
Yeah.
It's almost a meme that furries are incredibly open and accepting to a fault, and this is true. And this has given furry sort of a and furries have been a very like welcoming community because of it. It's like
Hmm.
welcoming towards like the neurodivergent, towards the queer, to those with very differing theological beliefs,
Yeah.
and like etc. And if you attack that, then you're attacking a space for for those people. And if you like get rid of it, then you get rid of that space for these people.
Yeah. You're
It's
destroying it. You
not
destroy a safe harbor.
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not that it's like an entirely separate issue being weighed against. It's not like furry rights being weighed against queer rights. They're linked.
Yeah, they're linked. I agree with you. I think that, like, again, I think that they portray I think there's an interesting thought experiment I think that can be done, that is, that goes like this. I mean, imagine if our society, for one reason or another, felt really, really icky about musicians. Okay, like for one reason and hey, let's be
Isn't
real.
that the world right now?
I mean, yeah, there is some of that, but let's pretend. Let's pretend that there isn't already some of that because there is. There absolutely is. I mean, I'll tell another story afterwards. But let's say that our society just decides that musicians are bad. If
Hmm.
musicians said, "Wow, like I was playing a guitar and I got punched in the head by my cousin who called me a musician or a slur for a musician, and then punched me in the head, and I felt scared." And so I stopped playing music. That would be a tragedy. And what
It would.
if people responded by saying, "Well, you choose to play a guitar," um, but it's like, yeah, you do, but that doesn't mean I should be punished for choosing that. So, like, I would argue that first of all, I don't think that like being trans or being queer or being a furry for that matter is really a choice. I think it's a choice as to whether we show it to the world or not, but I don't think that we should build a society that punishes people even for choices that don't hurt other people. Does that make
The
sense?
funny thing is like it's like furry has like never felt like much of a choice to me. it's not like I
Yeah.
get up every day and I choose to like draw forever or stop it. It feels like a genuine like part of me. And if I like stopped making furry art or stopped like cavorting with other furries or something, it would be tantamount. It'd be like the emotional equivalent of like chopping off a limb.
Yeah, like I can completely understand that, right? Like, imagine, like, I mean, again, the musician thing is one that's great. I'm sure we have musicians in the audience. What if you just had to stop? You had to hide it just because, even though it's a choice, even though it won't kill you to hide that, it would probably hurt a lot. Not being able to express yourself through music or through your art or whatever, you can apply this to whatever thing makes sense to you, would be hurtful. And by the way, if you don't think that there's overlaps between like musicians and furries, I challenge you to take a second look at how much work people put into, one, their fursonas, and two, their fursuits.
Oh
For
god,
those who
yeah.
are into
Some of the
fursuits.
fursuits are like some of those fursuits out there are like super fucking aesthetic and super great to look at. I can
Yeah.
understand how someone might look at a fursuit and be like, that's not my thing because of like I don't know, maybe there's something about like the staring unblinking eyes or
Yeah,
something, but like
whatever.
genuinely when I look at a lot of like fursuit photos, I'm just like, wow, looks great.
Well, yeah, but it's a passion just like anything else. You know what I mean? And there's I think that people are I think that we've like sort of gotten ourselves in some ways into a political position. Um, you know, this comparison already applies to kink artists. Yes, I know. Yes, I agree with you. That's why I made my whole video about kink at Pride, by the way. But yeah. There's like, yeah, I mean, I think that some people don't recognize that repressing people because you think, and like, again, this is another thing that you see, that there's certain overlaps between like furry and kink and even homosexuality in general. Like, there's this overlap of people go, well, it's sexual and therefore like it's bad, it's inherently sexual. This is something that's pushed all the time, the idea that it's inherently sexual, but that's not true though. That really isn't true. And even if it is predominantly associated with sexual actions or whatever, like you have with kink, a lot of kink is that. It isn't inherently that, and it isn't always that. And the idea that like that you can just pigeonhole it into that in the name of basically making an argument that it should be exiled from sunlight is, to me, very troublesome. Because I mean, there have been times in the past where certain types of art were very, and still to this day, this of course happens to certain degrees, but to much greater degrees, certain types of art in and of themselves were seen as degenerate. I mean, come on. Do we not remember that Christians in America hated rock and roll? They viewed it as a sexual form of music that encouraged
Yeah,
children to behave badly?
they filmed like
Weird.
Elvis from the waist up.
Yeah.
Because
Weird,
of the
isn't
way
it?
he would like thrust his
And
hips on stage and
jazz?
stuff.
Jazz is
Jazz,
another great one.
I think jazz was like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think people hated jazz as like a race thing.
I mean, for sure, that's a part of it. But right, these things overlap, right?
Yeah,
Um,
they
yeah.
overlapped. Jazz overlapped a lot with race. Rock and roll overlapped a lot with like, I guess, sex.
And
I
race,
guess
yeah,
sex and race. Yeah,
and
a lot of
religious freedom, and yeah, and so there's this
the
attempt to
satanic
basically,
panic.
yeah, jazz was considered deviant.
And like
Exactly. I
the
mean, God, there's
Nazis
so
who
many
would
examples.
like, don't forget like the Nazis who would like sort of like capture like degenerate art and like put
Yeah,
it into their weird like halls of shames. They didn't destroy it, which is interesting. They just sort of like displayed
sometimes
it.
they did, but yeah,
They Yeah, they would just sort of like display it for people to like look at and get mad at, to like stir up the hate, I guess.
yeah,
And that's what a lot of people like do on these like forums like Kiwi farms and such. They'll like post like the cringiest like furry art they can find or the worst fursuits or whatever, and then they'll just like sort of like stir the pot for themselves.
yeah.
It's a really interesting parallel that just sort of like occurred to me.
Yeah, I hope that people will apply more scrutiny to when somebody makes a claim of like, oh, this thing is sexual or it's inherently sexual or any of those such things. Like I really wish that that people would like go, is that really true though? Because I mean, again, I think music is sometimes, at least here in America, a really good example to point to, that there were times that certain types of music were framed as basically degenerate from their base, and we shouldn't treat things like that. I think it's
I
possible
know
for
hip
us.
hop got a lot of it
Oh,
too.
hip hop.
When it was
Oh God, yeah, that's another one where there's just so much. Like, right?
when they were
We
when
see
like
that
the
now with the wet ass
conservatives
p
were
word
coming
thing.
to satanic panic, like they like jumped on hip hop, and yeah, the whole Ben Shapiro like wet ass p word thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. It's wild. It's just this again. I don't know. It's the moral panic thing that makes me worried.
Panic. That's something I should have put something about like moral panic in my like notes document too. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, moral panics are something that makes me very sad and concerned, and I really try to discourage people, or I try to encourage people to be more critical about them and discourage them from participating in moral panics, because I feel like these things do a lot of harm, and they
They
lead
do.
to some of the most atrocious acts that we can imagine have to be previously justified by a moral panic. I mean, like.
Yeah, these kinds of moral
QAnon
panics.
is the one that's staring us in the eyes at all times these days. Is the
Is
QAnon
there
one?
like is there something new about QAnon
Yeah.
that
There's
like
always
I
new
might have
stuff about
missed?
QAnon. Yeah. There's always stuff about QAnon. Unfortunately. Um. Uh-oh. Okay. Whew.
What's up?
Small. There might be a small hiccup. Refresh if you need to. But yeah. Oh yeah. The Lil Nas X is another great example of. I don't know. It's just like our society is anti-sex in all of the wrong ways, and like and
That's a
and
fun
and
song.
and they never, and then there's all of this moral grandstanding about protecting X group, or keeping the family structure together, like we heard tonight on the panel, all kinds of different like signaling towards these certain things. And then at the same time, you have the same people who are putting forward those arguments shooting down actual laws, actual practices that would actually protect children from being abused. Things like educating them. They oppose these almost unilaterally. It's so twisted.
It's funny how like when you like step back and look at it, conservatives just genuinely seem to want to make people's lives worse and more stringent. Like
Yeah.
I know I should keep like an open mind about other people and stuff, but it is hard like to not just say no. These motherfuckers do just want to make people's lives worse.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, I mean, you to steal from Michael Brooks, be ruthless with systems and be kind with people. It doesn't necessarily mean being nice to every conservative. It just means recognizing that conservatives are heavily influenced by an overwhelming indoctrination and propaganda culture that it is not nice for them. I know. I used to be a conservative. I grew up in a cult. I know. Like, it was miserable. I was miserable. You are not liberated when you belong to these ideas.
I really like that segment, the grew up in a cult one. I thought that
Thank you.
I really
I put a
like
lot of
that.
work into it. Yeah.
I
It
could
was
tell.
yeah, it was a hard one to do. It took me a long time to do because I had to go through all my notes and find all my old stuff. I had to confront a lot of uncomfortable memories, and discovered and remembered some things I had forgotten, and recontextualized some things, and it was a good experience overall, and I'm very proud of that segment. And I am going to do a second edition in the future with more details, with more cleaner presentation and all that, but it's got to be a while. I need time.
More
So,
weird anecdotes, although I don't think you'll be able to top that one at the lodge.
oh, the lodge one that was very weird. Yeah,
That
I don't think there's much.
you
Yeah.
can't. I don't think you'll be able to top that one.
It's really uncomfortable. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. It was whew, that was a wild one.
I actually,
Um,
I literally like screamed.
I can imagine. Yeah, like, I mean, my experience of it was just like the Impo Christ emote. That was me. I was just like, what? Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? What am I being subjected to right now? This has gone off the rails. For those of you who don't know, go watch my spiritual deconstruction video. It's probably the best video I've ever made. The
Yeah, go watch
closest I've
it.
ever done to a bread tube video. You can go watch that. I highly recommend it for those of you who weren't a part of the Imp army, the Imp legions at that time. Still, At some point I'll do a watch together of it on stream and we'll talk about it more. But
My
yeah,
fall from religion wasn't nearly as eventful.
I mean, I think most people's aren't as eventful as mine. I was deeply into the indoctrination, and there are a lot of people. There are a decent amount of people who have experiences similar to mine. But first of all, a lot of them don't ever get out, and secondly, they are still a minority. As even though it's a shocking number, I recognize that most people don't grow up in as extreme religion as I do, and most people don't have that strong of an experience. But for those who do, for those who are, and as we have stuff like QAnon rising in this country, there are going to be more people who have that experience. But these worldviews, again, are not pleasurable to be a part of. They are torturous. And the reason why we have to be firm against them, and sometimes that does mean fighting harshly against individuals,
They're extremely constrictive.
yeah, they're oppressive and they're horrible. They're bad for everyone. They're bad for the people involved, and
They're basically like everything that I like try to stand against.
yeah,
In that sense.
in many cases, yeah, they are a lot of these far right viewpoints are truly categorically opposed to me, and I can understand what you were saying about like having a hard time like seeing conservatives as reasonable people to talk to, and a lot of the times that is true. Their ideology they've accepted to the degree that they will not consider you truly human. If you're queer, if you're trans, they'll consider you, if you're a woman, they'll consider you less than. If you're furry, they'll consider you lesser than. And that's very hard. It's a very hard bridge to cross. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't reach that person. And instead, you just have to hope to defeat the structures that made them like that. The structures that, and because I promise you, very few of them are happy. Those who are usually adhere by pure chance to a perfect, a perfect version of like, for example, I mean, this was brought up in my spiritual deconstruction was inspired by Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Morning's spiritual deconstruction. In that, Rhett talks about how it took him longer to realize a lot of the problems with Christianity because he never realized that Christianity was designed for him, a straight, white, neurotypical male. And it took him a long time because he was so insulated, and it took him meeting other people and caring about other people to realize that these things were not just limiting him less than others, but really hurting other people. But for the people who don't live up to that, who are, whether they are bisexual and they just repress one part of them, it's not fun. It's very miserable. So yeah. Yeah. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? This was a absolutely wonderful conversation. I don't want to make you feel like you got to stay forever, but I feel like we touched a lot of stuff.
There are other topics that I would like to maybe touch on if we have time.
Please, please, absolutely. We have as much time as you want. I just want to be able to give you. I know that it can be nerve-wracking to be on stream for a long period, so I want to be able to give you the opportunity to wrap it up if you want to. If you have more you want to talk about, more than happy to keep talking with you.
Okay, let's see the list of other topics. Furry hate as indicative of reactionary tendencies. We just did that. We can talk about sort of furry gentrification and mainstreaming. We could talk about furry as sort of like a new form of punk. We could talk about the more like this newer, younger generation of more like ironic furries. And we could like possibly talk about furries and the sort of like this new I don't know what to call it, this new trend of sort of like fashion and aesthetic that I've seen like in the furry fandom as well.
Sure. Please tell us about the. I think we can probably talk about the fashion and aesthetic, and maybe merge that with the conversation about gentrification if you'd like to.
Yeah, we could try to do that. Thank you, Copioid Crisis. You're sweet.
You've had quite a lot of compliments in chat. Looks like you got some fans here.
I haven't been really paying attention. I've been sort of like nervously pacing around in my room.
That's all right. I've been paying attention.
Well, thank you for paying attention for me. Okay, what were we going to talk about again?
Gentrification.
Yeah. So basically, like, there's this like there's usually this sort of like a recurring conversation within the furry fandom about like fears of furry becoming something that's a lot more like mainstream. a lot more like profitable. And like a lot of the fears surrounding this is that if like itself becomes like mainstreamized, then like it'll like push all the queer and like already like marginalized innocents that are present back into sort of the margins.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are very sort of adamant about like how do I want to put it? Um
You mean like basically like kind of, I mean, there's a parallel here obviously to the conversation about pride, right? Like the
yeah,
worry
there
is
is.
that it will become corporatized, that it will become sanitized, that the
Yeah.
parts that are that basically they'll seize the aesthetic but drive out all of the people who made the aesthetic, which is a
Yeah.
problem I think that we've seen so frequently, is the co-option, right?
Yeah, and that also ties into like the whole like furry as a form of punk, because like punk is sort of all about like authenticity and sort of giving a platform to like anybody who wants to take it. And furries are a lot of the same way, because like a lot of people call it a fandom, and I heavily disagree with that, because to me the definition of a fandom is basically a group of people who come together over the appreciation of like an IP.
Hmm.
Like someone could be a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and that would be a fandom. But furry
Yeah.
is a subculture, and the culture and the furry subculture, it's sort of like it makes its own sort of content. It makes itself for itself,
Yeah.
and everyone sort of
It's
like
autonomous to a certain degree.
yeah, basically like everyone contributes if they're a part of it. If you make like a persona for yourself, you've basically contributed to the culture overall.
Yeah, you have,
And what a
absolutely.
lot of people are worried about is like a lot of people are worried that once it becomes like mainstreamized or sort of like gentrified, that won't be the case anymore, and there will be a lot of like Zootopia kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Where like
Well,
all
I
the
mean, I think
fandom is
there's
being
two. I think
represented
there's
by a bunch of IPs rather than and the people within
Yeah, I mean,
the
I think that
subculture.
that is a risk, right? Like, I mean, we've seen this, you see this in a lot of times, but I mean, one can hope that like it's not that perhaps it's like a fad of people liking the characters, the legitimately like adorable characters from Zootopia or whatever, doesn't become an like a true co-option, that it maybe is popular, but that Disney never gets its hands into it. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a counterculture subculture to self-assert an identity on their own terms. It's not a fandom. I
yeah.
that was
Furry is
Acelaces, aka Doe. Yeah, I agree with what Doe is saying there.
let me
That
see.
yeah, it's like, oh, also real quick, this is a thing that I think was relevant. I don't know if you can see the stream right now, but I'm gonna put something up on the screen. A
Uh-huh.
really iconic comic, for what we've been talking about recently, and it says, it's like this little comic, should pop up on the screen here in a second,
Oh yeah,
and
I've
it's like
seen
you
this
you do
on
not
like
fit
the
in
height of
here.
the kink discourse.
Yeah, yeah, you do not fit in here. Okay, we will make our own place. Why are you excluding us? Oh no. And then like there's another one, which
There's a
there's usually another panel where they all
there's a
pop
fourth
in.
panel where
Yeah.
like all the guys from the outside are like in there now, and they're like, "You do not fit in here."
Yeah,
And like
exactly. And then they push, and they're like sad because they get pushed out of the space that they made. And
for
that is,
themselves.
yeah, like it's a simple comic, but boy does that touch on a real issue, right? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
I think all subcultures encounter this sort of challenge, at some point or another, if they reach popularity. And there is a sort of contradiction, in that, like, on one hand, you want to push for the popularity of something. You want people to, you want people to be able to find that thing. You want the other people out there who like that thing to be able to find it. But
Mhm.
with that comes risks, because sometimes in the process of getting it out to everybody, in the process of letting people find the thing that you have, because of the way our society functions, it gets stolen or co-opted, or I don't even know if you can say that it's stolen. It gets overtaken. It gets assimilated, and
And I
that
feel like
that can be
there
very
are,
harmful.
and I
Because
feel
sometimes
like
you
there
don't
are
have anywhere else to
some
go.
furries who genuinely are trying to make the furry fandom seem a lot more like professional. A lot of like how do I put it? Like privileged like art school types
Yeah, yeah.
who like that are like in the fandom right now, and I feel like they're trying to push the fandom into a lot more sanitized and more like hip direction.
Yeah, and I think that that's true. And I mean, by the way, on the surface, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with producing art that is cleaner or more professional. And obviously, I have a slightly different I tend to use, I think a lot of people, when they say professional, they think of like wearing a suit and showing up at 9 a.m. and working until 5. Whereas, I've had a couple of streams where I talk about professionality. The way that I look at professionality, it is recognizing that the other people that you're working with are also there to work on a thing, and having mutual respect with
Mhm.
other professionals, as opposed to being anything about aesthetic or appearance or anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, but
Kind
like
of why I only begrudgingly call myself a professional.
well, yeah, I mean, I understand that, right? Because it comes with it can sometimes come with some baggage. I personally believe we should reclaim the concept of professionality, because I think professionality is a it's the predator arm meme between working people, between people who are putting a lot on the line and sticking their neck out to create something cool. And I think
Mm.
professionality is that bond of mutual respect that makes those things possible.
Mhm.
But I think, again, I think for a lot of people, professionality just means family friendly or sanitized. And
Yeah.
also, I did want to say, like, I do think it's possible to have like cleaner or less immediately provocative art,
Mhm.
so long as that's not being so long as that's not squeezing out everything else. And I think that what can happen is that we see what I can't help but see the parallels between this and the Kink at Pride thing. It's like leather communities built like a lot of the pride movements. They organized they set up and pushed for and fought for the parades to ever be able to happen in the first place. And then all of
Mhm.
a sudden, people who are raised in a slightly better world and maybe don't take the time to learn it for one reason or another, or they're never taught it because of the forces haven't ended, then they come in and they're like, well, you
They
got to
have
get
no
out
frame of
now.
reference.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily bad for people to come in and go, yeah, I want to make like a super friendly, family friendly float, but it can't and shouldn't come at the cost of destroying the subculture that actually built things originally, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
The sweaty, awkward computer nerds that came before even me.
Yeah. And
Respect.
yeah, exactly. I mean, fuck, right? Like, I mean, I I every pride I do a lot of introspection about uh about the history that's lost, and about how we can do better, and we can, I don't know, teach people more. And I mean, that's why I'm doing all the stuff that I want to do this month with the history. But I don't know. I don't know if I have. I know I don't have the answer, but yet, and I don't know if anybody will ever have the answer as to how we stop it from happening. How we build subcultures that can endure growing without becoming subsumed, without becoming devoured by, be it capitalism or cis het normativity or whatever. I don't know how you do that. Maybe it's just, maybe the only way you do that is by continually having those original deviants keep fucking churning out their shit and challenging and pushing the window, and I don't know. Maybe that's the only way to do it. Maybe it's maybe that the perpetual revolution concept is onto something. That you must always, we artists must always put ourselves at risk of being called bad things in order to actually change the world. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't sound doomer, but I get sad whenever I think of historical periods where great amounts of art, of wonderful art even that I may not understand, but gets destroyed or lost. It's a very sad thing to me, and I hope that we can do better. I hope that during our time we can do it better, and the next generation won't lose that stuff as easily or whatever.
Yeah.
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 I hope that made sense. I rambled a little bit there, but sorry, what was there was another topic you said you wanted to bring up. I think, hold on, let me double check with what I had up here. You said a new form of punk, which I think actually we kind of touched on that, right? Like the idea that like you know, like furry fandoms in a lot of ways do follow a lot of the same
There's a lot of parallels with furry and punk in terms of like terms of like DIY ethics and, like I said earlier, content made by the community instead of like content that the community consumes.
Exactly, like the sort of for us by us kind of thing, and also the idea of being I mean, I can't help but feel like, I mean, there's like furry art has one of the stereotypes is that it's a bit there is a stereotype about a lot of furry art that it's a little politically preachy at times. I mean, I think if anybody here is familiar, and again, like I'm rather familiar with furry art, and if you are, you'll know that there's a lot of furries who are very open about their politics in their art and very unapologetic about that. And for some people, that's too ham-fisted, or they don't like it, or makes them cringe, or whatever. But in another hand, that was punk. That was totally punk, and goth too, for that matter. Like very much of unapologetic politicalness about the stuff that was created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could make like some political stuff, but like I don't know. I'm more interested in like sort of like things that happen internally than necessarily using my art to commentate on like the current political state of the day.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm not saying it's obligatory. I'm just saying that it's common. Yeah.
I mean, I put a little bit. Of course, I like use like I use my art to like be very like progressive and stuff.
Well, and like, with all due respect, you are on a political show right now, talking to hundreds of people about your politics and how it connects with your art. So
there are hundreds of people watching me.
Yes, there are.
Oh God.
You can do it. You've been doing fantastically. You've got this.
I'm sorry.
You're all good.
Okay, what are we talking about?
No, we were talking about politics in art. And furry art specifically.
Oh yeah, like
and how it's a new form of punk.
There's this one artist who's definitely like furry and gay, and they make like they make basically like political cartoons about like the Democrat donkey and like the
oh yeah,
the elephant Republican, and like how, honey, you can't snatch at my cord like that. My cat.
Kitty. Yeah, Happy Roadkill, I think is their name, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Happy Roadkill. And then there's also Squirrely Jack is another warning. That one I can't look at on stream. Squirrely Jack does some rather extreme funny.
Oh, yeah. I know Squirrely Jack. She's edgy.
Yeah, very edgy. But Squirrely Jack does some really political stuff and is very openly a furry artist. I love Squirrely Jack as well, yeah.
And like a fellow Sonic Sat AM connoisseur.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think there is I think the spirit of punk absolutely carries on, or at least there is some piece of that cloth in furry art, from my perspective. Yeah.
Indubitably.
Yeah. Well, Gutter Bunny, thank you so goddamn much for coming on. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on before you go?
I think we've like covered like most of what I wanted to cover. Do you mind if I like plug a few things?
Oh, of course. Please, please plug. My goodness. Everybody. All right. First of all, imps, you know what to do. You know what imps do. Good imps are supportive of the people who give them a show. So you know what you got to do. You want some fucking banger ass furry art. You go follow our lovely Gutter Bunny. And go ahead.
Follow me at Twitter at Gutter Bunny. It's already on the screen. Also, there is my webcomic, which I need to get back to updating, that I'll post in chat. It's called Anamoya, and it's about like a bunch of like queer furries in like the Midwest sort of surviving, I guess.
That's awesome. That sounds actually a lot like one of my favorite visual novels, which is a furry visual novel by the name of The Pervert by Michelle Perez.
Oh yeah.
Remy Boydell.
I'm actually a big fan of like Remy Boydell.
Me
I
too.
own both The Pervert and like 920 London.
Yeah, me too.
The Pervert just sort of like vaguely like there's a specific feeling to it that I really like.
Yeah, it's very
I'm not 100%
melancholy.
sure. Yeah, it's got this great melancholy nature to it. It's like I'm not always 100% sure what's going on, but boy howdy am I sad.
Yeah. True. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyway, keep plugging, please. I want everybody to follow you. You're wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share is like just my my webcomic is anamoya-comic.tumblr.com. You know what? If you could just like if I could just give you a link and you could like show everyone where to go.
Yeah, here, I'll post it right here. Do you have like a link tree or something with all your links, or?
No, I kind of do.
Here, let me just do this.
I just DM'd you the link to the webcomic.
Oh, excellent. I think I got it right here. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, I got it right here. Okay, perfect. Bam, there we go. There's both of the links for y'all, chat. Go give your follows and your hearts and your retweets and everything, because I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed. I myself have commissioned the great Gutter Bunny to create one of my characters, and I am going to show off my character a lot because no pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Say it in front of hundreds of people. Now there are expectations.
Oh no! Listen. No, I am not like that. Trust me. I worked on commission for a long time. I would never be mad if a commission didn't work out or something like that. I might be a little disappointed because I would like the I would love the art.
Like there are a bunch of people who are like DMing me who including you, who are like sort of like waiting for the queue to like clear up a bit before like put them on the list.
Hell yeah. Well, listen, maybe some of them will get tired and I'll find my way further up the list. No, I'm kidding. You do you. I want to support your art, and I want to do whatever I can to be the lucky recipient of one of those commissions at some point. So
yes,
yeah,
it'll happen.
Well, Gutter Bunny, thank you so very much for coming on. Everybody go follow Gutter Bunny. And yeah, I'm sure we will talk again in the future. And obviously, I will continue following your art. I love your art. My partners love your art. You are a bit of a celebrity around our house. So thank you so much for coming on my show.
No problem. Thank you for
Bye.
having me.
Absolutely. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
How wonderful. That was wonderful. God, I love it when that works out. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. Demon Mama Furry Art. I mean, I don't know. I keep saying I'm not a furry, but at the end of the day, like, I follow all the furry artists. I like furry art. I mean, the thing is, I don't have like an OC or anything like that. That was a pretty cool bunny time. Yeah, by the way, I'm having another smoke. Shut the fuck up. I know I've smoked a lot today. Today's been fucking stressful, okay? Tell you what. Maybe I'll come up with an OC. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Bat Canary. Well, of course, Doe. You're a doe. You're a doe. There was a whole thing where Demon Mama was talking about a lot of the political representation she sees in furry stuff. Different groups, I imagine. Oh, there's a lot of political expression. Yeah, no problem, She-Corp. I'm happy to. What the hell? Samantha Banana was being a jerk to a bunch of the imps. Oh, don't let her get to you. Samantha Banana is Samantha Banana. Samantha Banana has rough edges, okay? That's all. Love what you love. Just be careful with smoking. We need you. Don't worry. I'm being careful. Listen, I promise you, I'm working on getting my mix, my tobacco-free mix, ideally perfect, but I haven't been able to master it yet. Okay, it's really hard. Okay, I've really been doing my best. Thank you very much, Wolfs, by the way. I just, you know, life is short. I want to have a few nice things. Okay, seriously. You know a mod's overwhelmed when they type in all caps. Well, I mean, we rated the fuck out of them. We gave them the imp love. God, that's such a cool feeling. Isn't it cool to participate in a positive collective experience? I think that's cool. Aw, thank you, Intentions Nasty. Well, I love this community too. I don't know. I don't know, Doe. When am I? We'll find out, I guess. I guess that's up to you, right? Even 100% tobacco-free mixes will cause irreparable damage to your lungs and vastly increase your risk of lung cancer. Yes, I recognize that, but guess what? I cannot avoid all unhealthy things. It is impossible to avoid unhealthy things entirely. And wood fires are also very damaging. I agree. I don't like smoking tobacco because it isn't particularly good, and I don't like the idea of being addicted to anything. But the reality is that in truth, do you want to know what most likely shortened my life the most? Do you want to know what most likely shortened my life the most? Being poor for 10 years and stressing myself to the point that my organ failed. Kind of sucks. Yeah. So occasionally, I do have some vices. Hopefully, I will do them responsibly to the best of my ability. What do you use to take notes? I remember it being dark, and that would help with my eyes while I'm trying to write. I use Sublime Text. Sublime Text is amazing. Yeah. Also, Doe, don't worry about it. Zoom whitening ain't that expensive, okay? And the technology is way better than it used to be. Thank you, Capo. I appreciate that. I know. Don't worry. I know. Everybody's got their concerns, and I appreciate that, okay? I love Sublime. Super good. Sublime is incredibly satisfying. I plan to write everything in Sublime. It has so many quality of life features, and it is lightning fast. Just zero system resources. Nothing. It uses no system resources. So good. It's so much better than Google Docs. No, here's a thing. Here's a tip, okay, everybody? Listen. Listen up, imps. Listen, okay? Don't use Google Docs. Just don't. You don't understand exactly why because you're probably not a writer. But Google Docs is the laggiest, shittiest, unreliabliest bullshit that you can possibly imagine. Google Docs sucks. It literally has latency between your keyboard click. It's so bad. Scrivener is pretty good. I do enjoy my vices in moderation. Not today. I've smoked a lot today, but usually I don't. Usually I don't. Yeah. I only use it for its ease of organization, but I probably shouldn't. Well, there are some organizational features, but I promise you there are better solutions that you can set up in the long run that will make you more happy. I'm really fucked in that the way that I like. Do you know how much I've written since I got this new keyboard? The keyboard being tactile makes me enjoy every second. I was playing video games and I stopped playing video games to type something because it feels so good to type on the keyboard. just how I am. I got a Ducky 1-2 with green, with cherry MX green. It looks like this. Look, it's super cool. Look. There you go. I held it up for a long time. So cool. I'm not a real gamer, but I don't like RGB features. I don't like RGB features that much. We use Google Docs at work. I can clip that rant out of context for our next corporate meeting to get them to ditch it. Yes, please. Please. I promise you, there are better options. I don't know if that rant will be the best, but please, for the love of God, as somebody who has written literally thousands of articles, and my boss wanted me to use Google Docs so that they could monitor me, and I refused. I refused to write in Google Docs. It is miserable. Trying to write thousands of words in Google Docs every day is torture. It is torture. And you might not even notice it. You might not think you're being tortured, but your brain notices it. What's that Red Letter Media one? You might not have seen it, but your brain did. It's that. It's the Plinkett quote. Is Microsoft Word good? Microsoft Word is okay, but it has some issues. The problem with Microsoft Word is that it is not very low profile. So it takes a second to start up. And it has a bunch of features that you don't need. It has a million different things that you can do that you will never touch. And none of them are designed to make writing easier. They're just designed for really niche things like adding clip art and shit, which can be helpful for very specific applications, but you can use a specific tool for that. If you want a word processor, you want something that's simple and has quality of life features, your answer is Sublime Text or something very similar to Sublime Text. You see, Sublime Text, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you something. Watch this. I'm going to do it. That's right. Remember how earlier I said the difference between a genuine recommendation and a fucking con is that I show you? Let me show you. Watch this. Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. I'm going to get a nice fresh page. Watch this shit. This is so cool. Look at that. You can tab and it will maintain formatting. You can tab and maintain formatting. It does not line numbers. It has word count. It's by default dark mode. You can do all kinds of wild shit. Watch this. You can look, you can double click a word. And if you have, watch this. Watch this. Look. It will highlight automatically, instantaneously, every other occurrence of that word. So if you're like, wait, didn't I write about this before? You could have a document with thousands of words in it, and you can just instantly just double click and go boot-a-doot-a-doot, and you can go like this. Watch. With a double click, you can replace all of them. Wait, that didn't work. Hold on, I have my setting wrong. But there's a way you can do that. I'm pressing the wrong button. There, that's a fail on my part. But you can replace them all at the same time. And you can also, it makes formatting easy. It has smart formatting. You can easily make bulleted lists. Super amazing. It is the best. Can you turn the font red, double space, and Times New Roman? You can do whatever the fuck you want with that. But it's a text document, so you don't need to. This is meant, look, you can change everything super quick. There's so many features. There's so many features I don't even use, and none of them make it go slow. Oh no! Oh no, Doe! Yeah, it's so fucking cool. Like, you can do, oh my god, there's so much shit. Oh yeah, you can build custom macros. How would I be able to export the files out if I was going to send things to publishers? Don't they usually only accept Word docs? Watch this. File, save as, and you can save it as that. You can save it as a doc file. Yeah. And guess what? Text files can auto-convert into doc files. It's awesome. I fucking love this shit. And by the way, big credit to Haley from our audience. Remember Haley who gave us footage from the George Floyd protests? Can it read Word files? I believe it can. I believe it can open and convert them to TXT automatically. I'm not entirely sure though. Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. So good. Oh, it was Haley gave me a code of this, and it was Fawn who taught me about it. Fawn was the one who convinced me to start using it, and I'm very happy I did. It's made my life a lot better. Super, super great. WordPad? Yeah, I mean, the thing is about WordPad is it doesn't have a lot of quality of life features. This has a lot of quality of life features. Oh, also, let me show you this. Watch this. With a single keystroke, every time, look, it remembers. Look, it pairs automatically. You can see the little line under there, and oh, you can't actually. It's being blocked by the chat. Hold on, watch. Let me show you. Watch this. Look, it pairs parentheses, it pairs brackets, and it pairs quotations and single quotes. And it remembers them. It fucking remembers them. So if you delete one, you can either have one if you want to, or you can delete the pair, but it will keep track of the pair. So cool. Oh God, it's so good. It's so goddamn, it pairs. I know. It's amazing. I use this thing to take notes in video games because it's so low profile that you can easily switch between it and it won't even interrupt your gaming. I just go like, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, my Subnautica notes, I have Subnautica notes where I'm like, Subnautica. Okay, so I'll be like, nuclear reactor. Uranium crystals. 2x. Bam. Titanium. 7x. And look, it just does it just like that. Oh God, it's so good. So goddamn good. I'm glad you're safe, Doe. Snakes can be frustrating. How about using these cool features for writing a novel? I personally would prefer to write in multiple documents, like each chapter in a single document, and also would take no space. Now, certain things like Quoll and Scrivener might have more organizational tools for a novel writing. However, in my opinion, you can replicate the function of Scrivener by building a custom folder and then using the notes like this. So that's a lot. I've written, yeah, anyway. Plain text can be just copied straight across. Yes, that's another thing. This is compatible forever. As long, and I imagine that even 1,000 years from now, .txt files will probably still be openable. Oh my God. No, please. Please don't hide under forever. Please. Oh no. Oh yeah, this one has a focus mode. You want to know what else is cool? You can mod. You can mod Sublime Text. That's right. You can install your own packages, and there are thousands of them because it's an open source project. You can install mods. There's focus modes. There's all kinds of stuff. You can change the color scheme. You can download different frames for it. It's amazing. Super amazing. Yeah, and I mean, I think this already sort of has like a default focus mode, in my opinion. And oh, and another thing you can do, watch, you can do this. Here's another thing. If you go like this, I don't know how to do it. Oh shit, I don't remember how you do it. You can quick add. You can also have it compare documents. So it's used by programmers a lot. But anyway, it's really cool. It's really cool. Oh, sorry, it's not open source. My bad. But it has a lot of mod support. I thought it was open source. My bad. It is a good program. I've shown you why it's a good program. I told you I don't do product recommendations for no reason. When I recommend a product, there's a reason for it. Segment IT mama. Oh, look, I worked in IT. I know I've worked in everything. Mama's worked in everything, but I did work in IT. I worked in IT for a year and a half. Oh yeah, some people like Notepad++. Oh, sick, Capo. That's a big... Hey, that means I haven't lost my touch. Did you know? Did you know I once had a massive job offer on the table for Microsoft and I passed it up? Whew, that money. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I got a job offer for Mondo bucks from Microsoft, but it would have required me to move to North Dakota. Oof. Oh, my resume is fucking massive. Babylon the Great. Yeah, so I decided not to because I didn't want to uproot my... I know, true, Doe, true. I mean, I literally had the offer, and I had to turn it down. It actually gave... I'm not kidding you. I was debilitated for a week. Nice, Silent. Yeah, North Dakota would have sucked. Oh, yeah, I've heard good things about Adam. I've heard good things about those. You know, we gotta... Let me finish this, and then we'll find something else to do. Because, to be quite frank, I want to do more stuff. This is my first stream day back. I'm overqualified for this job, maybe, but that just means I have room to grow, right? I want to be a historical streamer. I want to make streaming history. You watch. I told you. I adjusted my goals. Previously, my dream was to just make this stream sustainable. But this stream is sustainable. You all have helped make this stream sustainable, which means we're going to aim higher. Good night, Pros Renegade. Thanks for coming by. We're going to make it historic. Doe says, oh, I saved this link. I want to watch it. Here, I'll put it on my... Oh, it's Jacob Geller. I love Jacob Geller. Jacob Geller is one of my favorites, like literally. Oh my God, I want Jacob. Wait, look, hold on. Where is it? Look. Doe, look. I got one of the Jacob Geller official stickers. It says, the golem is real and my friend. I love Jacob Geller so much. Oh my God. I will watch this for sure. Wait, did I ever tell you all the story where I did an archival? Did I ever tell you about that? I did. I definitely did. Recently I showed off a game on stream that had some amazing music. It was this old, like, super indie, like, old as fuck game called The Winged Warrior. And a couple of years ago, I remembered The Winged Warrior as a game that me and my siblings played when I was younger, and I remember really liking it. And so I looked for it, and I finally found this guy's old school website. I mean, old school, like pre-GeoCities website. And he had his email listed, and I emailed him, and he responded. I asked him if I could buy a code for if he had digital codes or digital files, digitized files. Previously, you would have to order a disc. In the past, you would have to order a disc to get the game, to get the full game. And I wrote an email to him, and he said, yes, of course. And he sent me the files for the game, and I have a copy of those files saved on multiple hard drives of this just random game. He was like, holy shit, I haven't gotten an email about this game in forever. Absolutely, I'll gladly do it. And I'm like, please let me pay you for it. He's like, okay. So I gave him $5 for his game. Paid full market price for it. Made me very happy. Oh my god, I should try to get the music files. It was a game called Winged Warrior 3, which is an amazing and beautiful game. The gameplay is a little bit aged for sure, but wait, oh, Dark Souls. Wait, he did a video on Dark Souls 3? Listen, I've been a Dark Souls 3 defender for a long time. I think people are way too harsh on Dark Souls 3. Have I written anything for the SCP project? No, but I have written for other projects online. Not the SCP project, though. Yeah, Arrow. I'm telling you. I'm not making this shit up. It's good as fuck. Dark Souls 3 is good. It has limitations, but it's awesome. Dark Souls 2 gets the most hate, but Dark Souls 2 also has a bunch of fervent evangelists. I didn't really like Dark Souls 2. I didn't really like Dark Souls 2. And there were a couple of reasons for it, but I know that people do like it. I know that H-Bomber Guy really likes it. I know Fawn really likes it. I found it to be not as interesting. Well, Lady Kelgana, I would recommend if you're going to try getting into Dark Souls now, you should start with Bloodborne. Bloodborne is the best Souls game. When you first started doing this, were you working full-time? I have some cool ideas for projects and I want to do, but I don't know if it's realistic to work full-time and do video content and streaming. At the time that I started this, I was at the tail end of my ailing writing career. I had basically no work, and so I started streaming a little tiny bit every week, just to try and like start streaming. And then I really liked it, so I kept doing it more. You know, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. When you first start, you don't have to stream like all the time like I do. I built up into this schedule. Demon Souls. Nah, I had a hard time with Demon Souls. Somebody tried to introduce me at Demon Souls and I bounced off of it. But then I played Dark Souls 1. Then I played Dark Souls 2. And then I played Dark Souls 3. And then I played Bloodborne. And then I played Sekiro. Sekiro is in my opinion, like I don't know. Sekiro has the most robust battle system. It is the most masterful battle system. I would love to see a Bloodborne remake in the Sekiro with the Sekiro battle system. I would fucking love that. How do you creators be so entertaining all the time? It's very impressive. I don't fucking know. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see. How do I describe this? You practice. I've had to actively train I've had to basically, started learning comedy techniques, and it's made me a better streamer. A lot of practice. You get used to it, and also you start to learn like the flow. It's kind of like learning to not swim. It's like learning to glide is a better way to do it. You start to realize how you can inspire people to start talking about things, which can serve as a launching off point for other conversations. Oh, thank you. I mean, I spent Dr. Jellicle. I spend so much time thinking about comedy and comedic timing and all that because it's important to me. I find comedy to be one of my favorite things in the world. Well, yes, I've encouraged the chat to engage with each other a lot. That's what I want, and I will continue to encourage that. Narco Socialista. Hey, Demon Mama, could you just tell me to start a band? I've been contemplating it for the longest time, but I think I just need a little positive push. Start a band. Life is fucking way too short to not try your hand at things that you dream of. I can't promise anything else. However, I can promise that doing the thing that you've wanted to do for the longest time will reward you. Even if it's a failure, even if you can't do it, I promise you, you will be glad that you did do it. I promise you will. I promise. And you never know. I didn't think I was going to succeed when I started streaming, and here I am. You never know, okay? You can do this. Bat Canary says, my favorite thing about you compared to other streamers is how involved you are with your chatter community, from actually responding to us to doing call-in streams and stuff. I try. I do my best. I guess I'm just a streamer. I'm a streamer first and a video maker second, I guess. That's why I like to engage. You do well enough that my ADHD ass is able to listen to very many hours of content consecutively, so it makes me think there's surely something to it. Well, I mean, I have really severe ADHD, so it makes sense that my content appeals to people with ADHD as well. Oh, I'm out of soda. Why do all the best streamers have ADHD? Unironically, I think that streaming is like, I think that streaming, I think the ADHD people have like an advantage at streaming. Kind of like how like really strong people have an advantage in wrestling. You know, it's just like that. Like streaming engages with your ADHD. There's lots of little things that you have to do to keep it maintained in order to make it a perfect thing. A good show and whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We'll do Narco Socialista. It also engages the ADHD to watch streams. That's true. I mean, I watch streams constantly. Even when I'm not streaming, there's a very good chance I'm watching a stream while doing something else. Well, you have to figure that out, Lady Kelgana. Just take some experience and experimentation and all kinds of stuff like that. The world builder's disease is a plague that's hard to cure. Beware of it. Listen, world building can be really cool. Just it can't be the only thing you do. It just can't. I don't know if it's really world builder's disease, but I guess kind of. I can see where you're coming from sometimes. God, speaking of world building, I've been writing again. Slowly, surely, but I've been writing again, and I'm really excited about it. I'll tell you all about it when I get more stuff done. Oh, it's so cool. Y'all are going to love the shit that I'm working on. It's super cool. It's going to take a long time, but it's super fucking cool. I'm working on a custom setting initially. So, okay, let me tell you. So this was a idea for a D&D session that turned into a NaNoWriMo project that turned back into building towards a D&D session. A D&D. I say D&D. I'm going to use something other than D&D. We're going to be using a different game, but it doesn't matter the game. The idea will be to have the story be applicable to multiple game systems, regardless of which one you use. But it's going to take me a long time, and I'm very, very excited. Oh, definitely. Mr. Potato Head, we're going to be playing more Resident Evil on Sunday, this gaming stream. So that'll be really fun. Super, super fun. How's the guitar going? Slow. I've been too busy. But slow. Slow and sure. I've been so busy. Like, yeah. But I'll get there. Thoughts on fanfics? Fine. Fanfics can be really fun. Just don't actually listen. Fanfics are fine, okay? A lot of people really have fun with fanfics, and guess what? Have fun with it. Don't ever listen to, really? No, you're going to be out of here. There we go. Let's get this person out of here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, they're gone. Oh my God, we're getting a lot of people. Coming in. Oh boy. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, nice. We are getting rated on YouTube. Oh my God. What the fuck is happening? Oh God, we pissed somebody off. What is going on? Okay, hold on a second. How do we do this? Hold on. I'll fix it. Bing. Done. All right. It is. Is it not working? Why is it not working? All right, there we go. Members only mode is now on. Sorry, everybody. We had to turn it on to members only mode. We're getting rated. Wow. Jesus Christ. That was bad. Holy shit, that was bad. Yep, Nazi raid. Yeah, straight up Nazi raid. Awesome. Love it. Love the Nazis. Oh, we love it when they come by and ruin and make everything fucking stupid. Hey, make sure you slap that downvote button. Or upvote button. Both. Come to the website if you can't chat in YouTube. Should be better. We can handle the website. Nazi raid after the debate. I wonder who it could be. Interesting. Is it related to Dream? I have no idea. Why would anything happen to me about Dream? I don't know. Whatever. Oh, we just got raided, and YouTube chat just got raided by people saying, I'm sorry, and this is a quote. Have you ever been raped? You should have been. Like literally just about 50 messages saying that. Hey, a few of them just did dislike it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead and smack that shit. Random Nazi shit. Just over and over and over again. Pull shit. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, yeah. They also put a bunch of racial slurs in there. Nice. Nice. Nice meme. Nice meme. Nice meme. Ah, well. There was another thing I was going to say. Give me a second. Emasculated right-wingers? Oh, it's true. Oh, they don't get to me. These types of people don't get to me. They're annoying, that's it. What gets to me is stuff that interrupts my ability to make my show, like when I have technical issues, and they can't really do that. Writing. I was talking about writing. Oh, I mean, listen. There's no hope. The DGG is they're never charitable. Like, unironically, DGG has been spreading the idea that I'm a pedophile, that I made pro-pedophilia arguments because of my Kink on Pride video. They're fucking stupid. They're just fucking stupid. There is not a single drop of charitability or care for the truth in their mind. They don't care. They don't care. The community there is a fandom of the streamer, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. So, there was something else I wanted to talk about and show, but I can't remember what I wanted to do. I need to remember what it was that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was something I wanted to do. Yo, Frog Whisperer, thank you so very much. You just bought me and my partner's dinner, so thank you so very much. Really, really appreciate that. Seriously. Yeah, we're getting some subs. Interesting. Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. Let them try. Yeah, I was going to talk about the link there. Yeah, I can do that here. How do I stop that? Hey, Peachy Jam, thank you so very much. There's more love in this community than there is hate in others. That much is true. My partner and I? What? Wait, what? Sorry, I'm confused. Snips what? What did I say? What? My partners and I? Oh, pedantry. Oh, pedantry. Oh, I see. You're throwing pedantry at me. I see. Don't worry. I don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know how you, I guess Streamlabs I would have to disable entirely. I don't know. Oh, that makes me very happy. Intentions nasty. I'll do my best to maintain that. Me and my partners or something. Whatever. What the fuck ever. What the fuck ever. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this thread. There's a thread that I wanted to read. Hold on a second. I have it here. There's a thread I wanted to go over. This one is just some interesting thoughts. You know, interesting queer thoughts, okay? Listen. Maybe we should enjoy this, okay? Let's see here. Let me bring this up. This was something I wanted to talk about earlier that we didn't get to, and I think it's important, okay? This is a good one, okay? Here we go. Ready? Enjoy. This is interesting queer thoughts, okay? Trigger warning, old school transphobia. The thing about don't use X term for X group is that this discussion really only exists online. Offline, there are many predominantly older people who identify in extremely individual ways that they spent decades fighting to be, that now get told that they can't. This is, yes, it's obviously, this is mucho texto, but bear with me, please. I know trans men that call themselves lesbians for so many reasons. Maybe they'd never go on T or get any surgeries because it's an intrinsic part of their identity and who they are to have the body that they do. It bears the scars of being in punch-ups with skinheads and police violence. They never had the freedom to choose which identity they were. They were dykes for decades before we were born, and they've led the pride parade with dykes on bikes and let countless queer women find safe haven in their home and cared for so many gay men as those men died in the 80s. Oh, oops. Thank you for reminding me to turn the camera back on. There we go. I'll fix it. There we go. They weren't able to call themselves transgender. The language didn't even exist. The internet didn't exist. I can't stress how small each of our worlds was back then, how the flow of information was so slow and sterile. The idea of being transgender or queer did not exist for so many people. You'll see many older trans people that identify as cross-dressers or have zero intention of medical transition. They're too old for surgery or too poor, or they discovered that they were trans yesterday. They have zero idea of what the fuck a true scum is. They've never heard the term trans-trender. Some of them get 2 hours a week that they get to wear the clothes they want to. Then it's back to being an elderly person with a homophobic or transphobic manager and family. Some of them get fired anyway for misunderstanding who can see what on Facebook, and older people don't get employed so very easily again. If a trans guy said they were a guy to a medical professional back then, they got put in an insane asylum. We've talked about this before. I know a guy this happened to. He's not even that old. Once the asylum was shut down, the only escape, he accessed T by trading E with trans women who are in the same situation. He is poor as shit, and he's dedicated his life and money to helping young trans men that come to the support groups he runs and tell him, you're not allowed to say FTM anymore. He has that term tattooed in his flesh as a medal of fuck you to society. I know elderly trans women who are the epitome of grace and fire, for whom the term transsexual was freedom from a cage. They, when given space, patiently point out to me that they are transsexual, not transgender, as they have always been the gender that they are. Woman. Please educate and inform cis people of what current expectations of them are in the current time and in terms of terminology and thought. But you cannot then look back over your shoulder and say, oh, all the trans people that came before me, change your offensive identity. The online community young trans people have access to is literally life-saving. I know from experience. I've talked about this as well. I've talked about this, about how for trans people, the internet is often the only safe bonds that you have. This is why we need to take the internet a little more seriously these days. But I implore you to go to your local trans support group and listen. Don't interrupt someone. They know their identity better than you do. See and hear and think. You will learn so much. You will find things that sit uncomfortably with you, and these are amazing opportunities to confront your internalized transphobia. You may find people you feel might not represent the community how you want it to be represented. What a great time to reflect. Wow, that's relevant. On the importance of making space for every nuance and facet of our community, and consider the ways that you may not have realized of being more inclusive of everyone. You may see people that might come across as shameful to you, and hearing their story, you may come to understand that the only way they are alive today is by doing whatever it took to survive, however ugly that might have been. You may come to the realization that literally every trans-aware medical professional was taught from the ground up by these elders who had to literally beg for treatment. And hopefully, you will come to find deep and meaningful connection and kinship with people older, wiser, sillier, and stronger than us. Please don't tell them what they are. While you're here, I wrote a similar thread delving into the mental health stats of trans-masculine folk and why they stand out from other LGBTIQ identities. This may help you frame older trans-masc people in a new light. Adding here, if you feel like an older person is offending you with their outdated language, assume they've never heard of Twitter or any conversations we have here and say something like, have you heard why some people don't use X anymore? They're usually very excited to learn. I think this is a really good thread, and there's a reason why I wanted to share it. Because we've been talking about similar issues quite a lot this month, haven't we? And I think, yes, that's the other one. That was the other one I wanted to talk about. Yes, thank you. You've sent me the next link that we were going to go over. We'll go over that very shortly. I had that on my document. We'll talk about this, okay? Some people look at me weird when I remind them that when I started my transition 10 years ago, when I started my my transition 10 years ago, it was technically allowed that if you got a gender identity disorder, which was the diagnosis at the time, if you got that diagnosis, you could be thrown off of your healthcare coverage. I started my transition process, the first early steps, before Obamacare passed, before it was illegal to bar or to ban punish people because of pre-existing conditions. And being trans was considered a pre-existing condition. Yeah, I'll link that thread. Absolutely. Of course I will. Whoops. Here's this. And you know, it's yes, it was Bena who sent this particular one to me. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Seriously. And some people refused to say they were trans, because if you said you were trans, you could lose your health care. You could lose the one thing that allowed you to express yourself. Our society makes us do really, really wild things sometimes to survive. Trans people, queer people are marginalized in our society. And I really hope that something that we all of us together this year have learned is that we are stronger together than we are apart, and minor differences in terminology, minor differences in approach should not become the grounds for moral panics and for splits among queer people. Queer people are very strong when we're together. We're going to talk about a lot of this in the coming month. This Pride Month is going to have 4 History Mamas, where I'm going to talk about the beautiful and wonderful history of various queer communities all across this country. But I want you to know that families of choice are nothing new. There are literal houses, like a house that was bought by a group or owned by one particularly rich, by pure chance, queer person or kinkster, and those houses became literal houses for those people. If you watch, like, for example, an example of this is in the movie Paris is Burning. Fantastic movie about the New York ballroom scene. And those houses, those houses were literally like, it was named like House Octavia, House etc., and it was literally a bunch of queer people living together because their families didn't accept them, and they would name themselves after that house. They would take the last name of whatever the name of their house was. They're safe havens. These exist to this day. And I want people to know about this. I want people to find how we've survived in the past. And, you know, I want to talk about something also. When I first started transition, I had a lot of problematic opinions. I really did. I'm very happy that I didn't have a platform when I first started transition, because I probably would have said some pretty stupid things. I think we all did. I think almost all of us are like that. It's almost impossible to escape from our society. I mean, I think I was based in my own way, but there was other things that I was unbased on. But like a lot of them were the products of an attempt to survive. And, but I was nonetheless wrong. For example, I had, when I first started transition, I was very uncomfortable with drag. And the reason why I was uncomfortable with drag was because I worried, because I had continually been equated with people who did drag. And so because I was stupid and young, I thought that I needed to push back against drag and not against the people who were hurting me. This is something that we all do at one point or another. Yeah, secondhand dysphoria. You have to learn not to not to lash out at other people who, lash out at other people who aren't causing the suffering, you know? And queer communities online, it's very easy. We fight a lot. Let's be real. There's a lot of infighting. It's just true. We squabble. We yell at each other. We cancel each other on Twitter. Sometimes we go way too far. Sometimes we really hurt each other, and it's very sad. But we have to remember that we aren't our enemies. Our fellow queers, those other people who belong in that giant umbrella of queer, aren't our enemies. They're not. The different people aren't the ones who are hurting you. It's a system that wants to get rid of you. It's a system that views you as obscene by default. And one of the things, I don't know, one of the things I want to accomplish this Pride is to start to plant the seeds of people having a better understanding of their fellow queers who are different than them. You know what I mean? I want gay people to understand trans people. I want trans people to understand, there's so much overlap. But I want trans people to understand drag people. I want drag people to understand trans people. I want us to understand each other, because we really do have intersectional goals. Together, we can liberate ourselves. We can build a better society together. And there's probably a hardship on the horizon for us. I have almost no doubt about that. I think that we are entering into I think the panel today is representative of that in a certain way. There are a lot of very, very, very anti-trans and anti-queer people out there. And it's going to be up to us to take care of each other. And if we're fighting with each other over stupid distinctions like terminology, if we're fighting with each other and being cruel to one another because somebody used the wrong pansexual flag, that isn't good. That isn't helpful. That isn't productive. It's not anything. We can't do that. We really, really can't. Fulton v. Philadelphia. I gotta look. I know. I think I might be a non-binary trans person. Welcome. Trans rights and trans thriving. You will find love and warmth here, Arachnoid. Okay? To the best of our ability. And we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody in this community is perfect. But we'll do our best. Evan Uwu, I'll be honest, Steven Mama. What you're saying here makes me kind of emotional because of how much effort and time I've put into learning from this community, learning from the mistakes that leftist infighting has made, and trying to figure out how to maybe rebuild some bridges. And it really means a lot that you're saying this stuff. You're welcome. It means a lot to me too. This stuff I believe in. Look, I'm a debatey bitch. You know I can be fiery, but I really don't. I really try not to hurt other people, unless they're a Nazi. Then fuck them. Because the truth is that we hurt each other a lot. The truth is that we don't mean to necessarily. We usually our intentions are usually good, but queer people unintentionally hurt each other a lot, and sometimes we don't even realize that that like we've been baited into hurting each other, like this Kink It Pride thing. That was injected into our community, and it gets injected into our community every single fucking year by right-wingers, by bad faith right-wingers. They provoke us into attacking one another. They do. And this is why I got so mad. This is why I got so fucking mad about it. And I'm still mad about it, and I'll be mad about it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm obsessed. I don't care. When people stop calling me a pedophile for saying that I don't think we should exile leather daddies from Pride. Hey, the Goat and the Goblin, thank you so much for the raid. Really happy to have you. We are having some queer talks. Come get comfy, okay? Kink It Pride is a bad take. That is all. Kink isn't exclusive to gays. That's not okay. First of all, yes, it isn't exclusive to gays, but Kink It Pride is not a bad take. You really don't know what you're talking about here. I'm sorry. If you want to talk about it, wait, Timmy the Tweaker, you can come on and talk to me about it. Please. I will gladly settle your issues with this. This is an issue I've talked about a lot. Arachnoid, don't judge yourself, okay? Let yourself off the hook. It's going to take time to practice these things. Don't worry about it, okay? What I've been saying is the right doesn't fight like this. They all fall in line. Oh, no, they fight much worse. See, that's the secret. That's the secret, Axe DDD. They fight way worse than us. They kill each other. They kill each other. They ruin each other. And yes, because of that, many of them fall in line. But we can't, our ideology doesn't work that way. We don't dominate. That's not how it goes. Well, we might dominate, but that's for our personal relationships and not for our politics. You're not interested? Okay, then stop talking about it. I'm an adult. I don't consent to seeing your Kink It Pride. Listen, you don't consent to seeing anything. Your eyeballs are open and you see all kinds of things. There are obvious limitations to this. You should not be forced to see something, but you are not being forced to see anything by going to Pride. Yeah, exactly. Nobody consented to seeing your shitty takes, did they? Or at least as much as you would to see Kink It Pride. Don't be a fool over it. Ah. All right, you got 1 second. Timmy the Tweaker, you've just dropped the term cope. Okay, well, moderator beat me to it. Bye. I don't care. Wait, but what? There's no difference between saying kink at Pride and fetish at Pride. There really isn't. Those words are people overlap those words. Just because you see a reference to something doesn't mean that your consent is being violated. I don't agree with this framing. Like I said, is your consent violated because you saw a comic that you don't like at the store? Is your consent violated because you saw somebody who's cringe? If the comic is adult, the store is made to cover it up. Not everywhere, Sindrake. Not in most European countries. Also, there's all kinds of obviously sexual stuff that's all over the place. Then we recognize that it doesn't hurt children. If you want to ban something, If you want to abolish something, you need to provide a good reason for it. Actually, Sindrake, do you want to come on and sort this out? Do you want to come sort it out? Is one consent violated because some local theater is playing a film that has graphic violence? Yes, I know. That was the yes, I agree, Beer Bash Johnson. Yes, that's the thing. I'm only telling you what they see in their perception, but their perception is wrong. They jump. Their entire argument. By the way, thank you very much, Boy Meets Minnie. And thank you for the raid. I just realized I missed the raid. Thank you so much, Beer Bash Johnson. I really appreciate that. This is the thing that people don't get. Everything gets lumped together. Their perception is really wrong. It's not just wrong, it's fraudulent. It's a lie. They smear a bunch of concepts together to fearmonger. It's intentionally vague. It's meant to induce an emotion, not a conclusion. Movies have ratings to warn you, and guess what? They're usually wrong, and those ratings are controversial in and of themselves. Do you know how many times a movie has gotten a worse rating? No, it is fear-mongering. It is fear-mongering, absolutely. But movies that have ratings, movies might have ratings to warn you. But first of all, just because a movie has a rating doesn't mean that you knew what the rating was when the movie was being played. Also, movie ratings have in the past been weaponized in the exact same way as what we're talking about here. For a long time, you could not display a gay relationship without automatically being rated R. Just for having gay people in it. Why do you think? I mean, there's an entire video on this that was done by, I think it was Lindsay Ellis did a video on this about queer-coded villains. And the reason why there are so many villains who are gay and queer-coded is because they were written by gay people and acted by gay people, but they were literally not allowed to be portrayed as heroes. It was against the law. I'd have to think on that, Mother Meerset. You're welcome to do whatever. You're welcome to do whatever. I know you're not a creep. Thank you. Thank you for the $5. You can do whatever. I'm pretty much open to whatever. Is there anything you would consider inappropriate for children? There's tons of things that are inappropriate for children. There are tons of things that are like inappropriate for children, but that is a complicated conversation. Like, what is inappropriate for children is difficult and has to be substantiated. After all, remember, inappropriate for children is what led to all kinds of. Remember Jack Thompson? Remember the guy who wanted to ban GTA? The guy who wanted to fine game stores if they didn't do ID checks on every single game purchase, if they didn't have a section for adult-only games? Come on. Being gay in a movie gave it an automatic R rating, yes. Some of them it was worse in the past. Sometimes it was literally illegal. The Hays Code is one of the best examples of this. Obviously there are things that are... George Carlin was arrested for his 7-word skit? I didn't know that, actually. Joe Biden says, thanks for the great stream, and I feel bad because I really need to sleep, but I want to watch the end of the stream live, but I work in 6 hours. Go rest. Kind of been fucking off from the live community recently because I've been internalizing a lot of at-home transphobia, and I don't want to bring negativity of inner Blair White shit on you lovely people. You're all amazing and so fucking valid, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Wherever you are, I hope you're all doing great. Joe Biden, same goes to you, buddy. Same goes to you. Rest well. Get some rest. Don't worry. I'll be streaming again soon, okay? Seriously. Trans rights and trans thriving. Stop fetishizing normalcy. Well, people fetishize normalcy People fetishize normalcy because to them, it seems like normalcy is a ticket to not being hurt anymore. But that's not it. By flattening yourself into whatever is normal, and nobody knows what normal is. Normal is a concept of control. Does that make sense? That normalcy is a concept of control? If you try to build what is considered normal on a social level, you are inherently making an impossible standard. Maybe in a bit. Maybe later, Capo. I think it would help to close this debate if you would try and explain what are the things that you would consider not appropriate. I think most people would have similar opinions. That's the thing. I don't know. Like, you want to talk about specifics? You're asking a very broad question. What do I think is inappropriate? I think that it's inappropriate to show little children extreme violence. Like, I think that's bad. I think that can scar them but that doesn't necessarily mean that every single child. Okay, listen. Okay, there's this thing that used to happen. Hold on a second. Let me try and explain this. There used to be a conversation around video games where parents would say that I know what my child can handle. And what that meant, that was usually, video game supportive parents would say, listen, you might say that your game is for 18-year-olds, but my 16-year-old is very mature and I know that they can handle adult themes. I want them to be able to play this game with me. And the truth is that while, yes, parents aren't everything, but there's a lot of variance between, people, right? Hey, thank you so much, Beer Bash Johnson. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay? Every person is different. Some people are mentally very mature at a young age. Other people are not quite there yet, and they might not be able to handle certain things. Can you imagine? Like, think about this. Some people would read Berserk, which has a lot of really fucked up adult themes, and read it at a younger age, and they'd be perfectly fine. Other kids would read that and have horrific nightmares for months. It's not so simple as just ruling out what is and what is not appropriate just as a blanket statement. Unfortunately, it's messy. We have to be able, and we should be careful to prove harm. We should be careful to substantiate harm. It depends on the child. I watched violent movies and played violent video games, and I can tell you that was not what traumatized me. Violent video games and violent movies didn't traumatize me. My parents being abusive and hating me for being a fucking fig was what traumatized me. No, I said fig. Don't worry. I said fig. In this case, shouldn't we err on the side of caution? How far? How far do you want to err on the side of caution, Jojo Killer? How far can you go with that? Because people would have made the exact same argument that you're making right now about pride itself even existing. We have to be very careful how far we err on the side of caution and what cost that comes at, right? Because the cost could be the suppression of genuine expression. Art and expression have value. Pride isn't uniquely dangerous. Yeah, it isn't uniquely dangerous in any way. Can't get Pride Discourse? Oh, yes, it will continue. I told you this, Graham Hampshire. It's not going away. It will be here for all of June. It might end at the end of June, but we'll see it again next year, so get used to it. We're going to sort this shit out, and everybody's going to walk away smarter. Hopefully. Anyway, there's another thread I wanted to read. Let's get away from the kink at pride thing for a second, and let's read this other thread real quick. I agree, so that's why the discussion shouldn't be about either or, but about balance. But balance is very hard to achieve, and I think that there is a great harm that comes from exiling people from the public eye if they aren't doing harm, okay? If they aren't doing harm. And the one thing that's been missing in this entire discussion from the very beginning of it has been harm. What is harm? How do we categorize it? How do we sort that? Nevery says, it sure would suck if I had to parent my child. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people act like that. A lot of people fucking act like that. Kill your shitty child for all I care. Yeah, it was a fantastic line from ContraPoints. The thing is, like, I think that they're like, yeah, true, Capo. Yeah. Mommy, why is that person wearing that? Because they want to. It's that fucking easy. Oh, by the way, just so you know, literally, I'm not kidding you. This is not a joke, by the way. I was excited to talk about this on stream. Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I went to the grocery store. At the grocery store, I saw a woman who was wearing a dress that had splits on the side that went all the way up to the top of her hips. I am not kidding you. Her ass... This was in public. She had her kid with her. Yeah, Fawn was there. She had a dress that her ass was literally just boom. You couldn't see her underwear, Vor buddy. Let's just put it like that, okay? That just goes to show you, okay? Nobody cared. Not one person said anything. Not one person said fucking anything. Now, if it was a AMAB person, you know, I have a feeling there might have been a bit of a mess. Probably would have had the cops called. Yep. Oh, and this woman was comfortable as fuck. Like, literally just didn't give a shit. Nobody even batted a second eye. A couple people did check her out, but that's about it. And she was hanging out with her kid. Her kid looked perfectly fine and healthy. They were having a great time. Just saying. Like, a lot of these things, like, you do realize, like, hold on, like, this is another thing. You do realize that for most of human history, like, people hung out naked around each other, right? Like, or with loincloths. Like, you know that, right? Like, do people just forget that that history existed, that, like, we had different rules about nudity and stuff like that? Like, again, I just, oh, God, this conversation just drives me wild. It just drives me fucking wild. Like, also, you do realize that, like, for most of history... Like, people didn't own multiple, like, beds and shit. Like, they just, if they wanted to fuck, everybody in the house knew it. That's just true. By the way, if you read medieval fantasy, I mean, not medieval fantasy, if you read medieval historical fiction, which I've read a lot of, don't ask why, like they talk about this. They talk about how like peasants would would have like communal sleeping areas, and there would just be people fucking, like multiple people fucking at night. Oh yeah, I don't know what's causing that. I'll fix it. I saw that too. Yeah, it's awkward as fuck, but like keep in mind, like what I'm trying to say here is that the standards for what is appropriate vary greatly, and that just asking the average reasonable person what's okay is not the best way to construct an argument around this. Okay? Like seriously. It's not a good way to construct an argument. You need to demonstrate harm. If you want something to stop, you need to demonstrate harm. All right, let's read this thread, okay? I have another thread, okay? We're going to keep on trucking. Let's keep trucking, okay? Here we go. Some of y'all baby gays really need to read this, okay? Really need to read this, all right? One day, some of you will actually go outside and go to Pride, and you're going to meet old black queens who refer to themselves as femme. You'll meet people from small towns who still use the word transsexual. You'll see that your local activist organization set up a stall about your local LGBT history that includes the leather bars history. You'll see lesbians in groups refer to themselves as guys and boys. You'll see someone with breasts and pasties and little else have he/him painted on his chest, and you'll be so caught up with your terminally online attitude that instead of appreciating the wide diversity of people who exist in the LGBT community who are brave enough to share themselves, you'll just be formulating posts and tweets in your head for when you get home about how problematic it all was, and it's honestly tragic. Once, back when I worked in an LGBTQIA dungeon, I encountered a significantly older person who remarked to me that they hadn't been to this type of place in decades. They struck up a conversation with me and told me how amazing it was to see an openly transsexual youth such as myself. I asked them about their experiences with gender, and they said, oh, well, I'm a bit male and a bit female. Men's and women's clothing, sometimes makeup in a suit, sometimes fresh-faced in a dress when I'm at home. You know, bisexual. Obviously, this puzzled me at first, until I realized this person was using bisexual in a very, very literal and old-fashioned sense, as in dual-sexed, non-binary. Y'all gotta understand that there are generation gaps in the language we use, and you open yourself up to a lot of very interesting stories if you stop blocking off the past. Kind of cool, right? Kind of eye-opening, right? I think it's important to think about these types of things. I think it's really important to think about these types of things. Oh, there's one on YouTube? Oh, thank you, Goddess Trans Girl. Oh, yeah, the one from Mother Meerset? Yeah, Mother Meerset, you can DM me. I don't know. It's not, and it isn't, you know. Doe says, I legitimately believe that LGBT people that fall into the anti-queer, anti-deviancy groups just feel shame, a frustration that queers just can't be normal like they are. But they're not normal either. They're not. They don't realize it, but they're not normal either. They might be able to hide it better, they might be able to put up the facade, but they're not, and they never will be. Gayfesh says, honestly, a lot of this makes me think of the older gays, like, say, Buck Angel. Granted, he's been very, very shitty, but the idea of him sticking with transsexual makes perfect sense in this context. Yes, I agree with you. But Gayfesh, I will note that people aren't mad at him for just for using the term transsexual. They're mad at him for a lot of other things. They're mad at him for being the opposite of this position, which is an old gay trans who hates young trans people. Like, unironically, like Buck Angel really doesn't like young trans people. Like, he thinks that we're all degenerates, and that's really sad. But yes, I agree with you. I had a phlebotomist that was an old trans man, recently retired from it. Yes, he was amazing. I talk about him all the time. When he whispered to me that I'm going to tell this story again. I'm going to tell it again. So, at our local clinic, there was a phlebotomist, and the first time I had my blood drawn there, I was looking a little nervous. And when it was time, he walked over to me and he put his hand very gently on my shoulder and he whispered into my ear and he said, "It's okay. You don't have to be worried. I'm trans too." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "Yeah, you're okay here. You're safe here." A phlebotomist, not a lobotomist, phlebotomist, somebody who draws your blood. And then he proceeded to tell me about a film that he'd recently seen at an LGBT film night. And he had very different terminology. This was a moment that stuck with me because he did have different terminology. He always called everybody transsexuals. He didn't really fully like understand the terminology around non-binary people 100%, but he was loving and caring and reassuring. And he wanted me to know that I was safe, that he knew what it was like. Pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Oh yeah, Andy introduced us to a great restaurant. Also, best phlebotomist I've ever had. No joke. The only person that he literally helped me get over my troubles that I had with getting blood drawn. Because, get this, ready? Get this. He listened to me. I'm not kidding you. That was one of the coolest things. I told him the first time I came in, I said, I always have trouble when they try to get it out of my arm. I have kind of chubby arms, okay? And it's really hard to get it out of my arm, right? And he said, well, why don't we try your hand? I'm like, well, I don't know. Last time they did it in my hand, it hurt really bad. He's like, don't worry. Let's try this. And then he said, and then he got it like that out of my hand. And he said, all right, we're never going to worry about your arm again. We'll do your hand every time. And I was like, and every time it was over in 10 minutes. He was the best. Oh God. Oh my God. He was so amazing. My fucking God. What a hero. What a goddamn hero. Yeah, I think it is. We'll make this a segment. Yes, that is the reason why there's a vast generational gap, Axetti. Yes, that is why. To pop back up to what Doe said, it's like the Blair Whites. She tries so hard to fit into normal understandings of gender into conservative circles, desperate to be accepted. And so what she points out on her channel is that others are too weird, too deviant, too out of line, and thus deserve to be pushed out. She feels shame looking at them for being so deviant, for making her look bad. Absolutely. Spot on, Doe. Spot on. Maybe Buck Angel doesn't get it. I think Buck Angel just doesn't care. Honestly. Unfortunately. I just think Buck Angel is a callous and bitter person, unfortunately. I don't think that Buck Angel is wrong for minor things. I don't think that he's wrong for having strong opinions about fighting for medical rights. But Buck Angel, like, first of all, Buck Angel outed other trans people, and also Buck Angel like actively pushes against modern queer stuff. Like, he's very cruel. He's very cruel. Like, Buck Angel has made fun of like people he thinks are too queer. Yeah, I don't think yeah. Personally, I feel like Buck Angel felt offended at feeling invalidated at first and then couldn't listen after that offense. Maybe, but I feel like he's been doing this for a while, unfortunately. Yeah. Yes, Blair does say that she used to be much more visibly queer. She showed a picture of that, and she made fun of herself in the past. She called herself cringe and all kinds of things. Interesting. Oh, yeah, he also judges people for getting bottom surgery, which is pretty shitty, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's pretty shitty to do. Yeah. Yeah, it's none of his business. But, I mean, again, people are weird about stuff sometimes. Bye, Babinska. Have a great night. Could Blair's boyfriend possibly be why she's a conservative grifter? I don't think it's one person's fault. I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't know much about her boyfriend, but yeah. Doe says, the interesting thing about the Buck Angels and the old understandings, like the bisexual thing, is how contingent our understanding of ourselves is, how much we are shaped by structures that exist outside of us and yet live through us, and our active, critical engagement with them. Yeah, I mean, it like language evolves, and that's another thing too. Like you say there, when we lose a generation, when we lose a generation, we lose that vocabulary. We lose the ability to integrate that and reflect on it. And we lose the ability to digest it for ourselves and integrate it and grow from it. I've not seen that, Tronsler. That is sad. That is really sad. But guess what, everybody? We can start changing that. That's right. You hear me, imps? Listen up, imps. Please. Please listen to me, imps. This is important. Of all the parts of this that you listen to, listen. Please. We can change that together. We can choose to save, to protect, to archive, to promote the work of other queer people, the words of other queer people. We can share them and teach one another. Seriously, we can change this. We can learn from that loss. We can learn from that pseudo generational trauma, and we can make sure that it doesn't happen again, or that it can't happen to the same degree again. And guess what? You don't even got to be a queer to do that. If you're sitting here and you're a cishet in my audience, and I know there's a lot of you, and you're like, wow, these people are really beautiful and wonderful, and maybe I'm not queer myself, but I appreciate the queers, you can help. You really can. You can help us. Because our struggles are shared in the end. They really are. We fight for the same better world, and a world that's good for us will be good for you too. Good night, Sparkly Void. No, they're not stupid. They're good questions, Eddie. They're good. I'm happy that you asked them. Asking questions lovingly and compassionately and all of that is super, super valuable. It's super valuable. That knowledge is so valuable. I'm happy to share it. And I'm sure Chad is too. Good Faith Actor says, to be honest, Demon Mama, I've always heard Vosh defend trans rights, but listening to your experiences just hit different. Well, yeah. I've always appreciated Vosh's willingness to push for trans rights. I do. I really do. But it's true. I lived it. Yeah, I lived it. Mr. Krabs says, I may not be LGBTQ plus myself. I'm still a part of a minority group like you and many others. We fight together. We stand together. That's a lot of why I say queer is less about identity and more about how you fit into society. I think there's a lot of cishet queer people out there. I actually think so too. If you ask a question, you will be reported to the imp party officials. A good chatter believes everything Demon Mama believes. Incorrect, Doe. For you, yes, yes. But everybody else, they must think for themselves. I must inspire in my imps critical thinking and independence. They have to. They have to. They must learn. Thinking is hard, but it's worth it. Doe's bottom energy is an inspiration to us all. True. Schubert, I have a question. Why is Sora's feet so big? You already know the answer. Follow your heart. Or your cock. Or your pussy, I guess. Or whatever else you have. Got it. Okay, so Mama said I need to think critically and be independent. Can you elaborate on which specific stances I need to take on what issues to be an independent critical thinker? No. No. I won't. Lady Calgana, I spent most of my life believing I was cishet and then I wasn't. You never know what the future can bring. True, though. Oh, boy, isn't that true? You spend your whole life thinking you're cishet until you aren't. Uh-oh. Whoops. Whoopsies! Yoink. Why abandon me like this, Mama, in my time of critical thinking? Because it's funny. This reminds me of that scene from Life of Brian. You know, it's been forever since I've seen Life of Brian. Holic Master says, coming out as bi-pan has really made me think about what I want in life. In a good way, it made me more honest with myself. Yo, same for me too with being trans. I'm way happier. I'm a way more full person since I embraced being who I am. Seriously. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was a person. I don't even know if I'm a person now, but you were just a funny animal. You are a funny animal, but you're a good one. What's bi/pan? It's basically referring to bisexual or pansexual. There's sort of there's an ongoing discourse about how to better define those terms. The scene where Brian is on the balcony telling everyone, you've got to figure things out for yourselves, and they all repeat in unison, we have to figure out things for ourselves, and they just parrot everything he says. True. Listen, what I can do, my job isn't to tell you what to think, but to help you learn to think, to give you the little hints and clues and ideas that drive you to fulfilling your own intellectual pursuits. Bam. Wait, did I miss something? Hold on a second. Did I miss it? Hold on, I missed something. Anyway, Lacey Sneaky Waikiki with the incredibly, oh my fucking god, incredibly generous tier 4 sub. Heading back to the US this month to start HRT. Soon I won't have to watch Demon Mama streams at odd hours. Happy Pride, everyone. Yo! Hell yeah! Thank you so much for supporting the show. I got some great shows for you. Happy to hear you're going to be back in the US and getting your HRT. That is beyond pog. What a fortuitous month to begin HRT. Holy shit. Frog Whisperer says, honestly, I was skeptical of the concept of non-binary because I'd say that's just how everyone feels. Well, I guess not. That happened to me. That happened to me with being trans. I just assumed that everybody else sometimes wanted to be a girl really, really bad most of the time. I just thought girls were super cool, and so, oh yeah, that must mean everybody wants to be a girl, right? That's the thing. And then, nope. Wah, wah. Doe says, the weird thing about my transition is, like, I started out just thinking I was a girl because I didn't feel like a boy, but now that has just opened the door of language to better express myself as, I'm Doe. You are Doe. It's true. You are Doe. Not everybody girl bosses? Well, anybody, remember the Remember the lesson from the amazing film Ratatouille? Anyone can cook. Wait, was it anyone can cook? Wait. It was Chef whatever his name is. Chef, what was his motto? Anyone can cook. Yeah, I was right. Anyone can cook. And at first, it was thought that it meant that that just anyone can cook. Chef Gusteau, that just anybody can cook. But what it really meant is that you never know who could be a god tier cook. So you can't judge, because even a rat could be the greatest cook that this world has ever seen. Bam. And that is the same thing with girl boss. Anyone can girl boss. You don't got to be a girl necessarily to be a girl boss. Just how it goes. Just true. Simple and true. I've made no secret of my disdain. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can get the voice. Hold on. I've made no secret of my disdain for Chef Gusteau's famous motto, anyone can cook. But I realize only now do I truly understand what he meant. Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. By the way, that scene made me cry. When he drops the fork because he sees the memories, whew. It should have been more French, yeah, but whatever. I'm so happy. Doe, I'm so happy you're a Ratatouille fan. It's such a good movie. Ratatouille is underrated. That movie is fucking good. Also, listen. Hold on a second. Soline Leclerc. Okay, listen. Wait, that's not her. That's not the one. What's her name? Colette. Oh. Listen. Sorry. Hold on a second. Just gonna have a minute here, okay? Can we just have a minute? Can we just have a fucking minute? How many women do you see in this kitchen? Only me. Why do you think that is? True! Icon! That's how I feel on half the panels I'm on. Listen, not gonna lie, I had a crush, okay? Listen, I got a crush, okay? Just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you people. Shush. Hush. Shut the fuck up. Don't fucking judge me. I'll destroy you all. I'll destroy you all. No, I don't care. God, why are women so hot? True. Always be a girl bossin'. Always be a girl bossin'. Always be a girl bossin'. Aw, that's cute, Ugly Pie. Colette can kill me? Yeah, I'd think about it too. Not gonna lie. My first crush was Jodie Foster. Well, that's a tell. Then hearing she was a gay idol after my egg cracked. Has anybody seen that amazing clip? This thing. This is so good. Hold on, where's the... Yeah, this is the one. Wait, why is it not playing? Why is it not playing? What the hell? That's weird. Is my audio fucked? Anyway. Gay silence. It's because it's gay silence. No. Shut the... No, there's a version. I've seen this literal clip before. This one normally has sound, I'm pretty sure. Hold on a second. I know it's in here. Hold on a second. Give me a second here. Hold on. No, my audio is just fucked. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. I think I figured it out. Jesus Christ, my life. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I knew gay silence wasn't actually silent. Here we go. Watch. I'll prove to you that I was correct. Ready?
Have a steady boyfriend?
No. No. I don't have time. And I suppose I don't think about it very much.
What kind of fella would you like, really, when you do have time to get around to that?
Huh. I don't know. I suppose I would like somebody who understood my business.
Look, come on. Look, you gotta tell me. Let's watch that again, and I just want you to watch and spot when she does the thing that I do, where I look at the camera. Watch, just watch. She does it. You know.
No. No. I don't have time. And I suppose I don't think about it very much.
What
That's
kind
right.
of fella would you like, really, when you do have time
You know, it's funny.
to get around to that?
Huh. I don't know. I suppose I would like somebody who understood my business.
Why is it being like this? Why is my life? What is going on? What? How the fuck is my camera frozen? That doesn't even make sense. What the fuck? What is happening? Oh my God. Holy shit, this is so fucking annoying. Ah! Anyway, listen. Destiny thought that I learned the camera look from Vosh, but I learned it from Jodie Foster. Let's be real. Unironically, though, Elliot Page is hot as fuck. Elliot Page is hot as fuck. That's rare. Again, it's rare for me. And the funny thing is, like, Elliot Page is, like, mask and hot as fuck. Well, that's how these things work. When you have money, you can make all kinds of crazy stuff like that happen. I need to fix this fucking shit. Was I going to talk about conversion therapy? I was for a little bit, but I think I'll just talk about that next stream. Basically, the gist of it is that a bunch of conversion therapy, right-wing organizations have been paying fuckloads, I mean millions, for conversion therapy ads on Facebook. That's one of the new things they're pushing now. But that's what I was going to talk about, but I don't really want to go into that right now. True. Have ever been attracted to a masked person IRL? Yes. But it's very rare. It's very rare. Once or twice. Oh, yeah. I forgot. I got to tell you. All of you, on the 14th, I'm getting my hair done. I said this on the video game stream, but I'm going to say it again here. That's right. I'm going to a hair color artist. It's going to be amazing. Like literal, like decade of experience. You'll see. You'll see. It's fucking cool as shit. It's going to be cool as fucking shit. I'm telling you, it's going to, I'm doing flame. The color is going to be flame. Yes. I specifically asked that I want it to look like my head is a flame. And I'm going to get my undercut back. So I'm getting my undercut back. the one that I had when I first started streaming, and then I'm going to have it painted underneath with a different colors, and then my hair is going to go out into flames, and the edges are going to be licks of lighter color and darker colors in the bottom. So it's going to look fucking amazing. It's going to be so good. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. It's going to take me 5 hours though. So I'm going to be out of commission for that whole day. They were literally like, make sure you bring food and drink. But once it's done, it'll be around for a long time. It'll be super cool. Yeah, super cool. Oh, and with the place I go, you get a free undercut touch-up 3 weeks later. So I get to have my undercut for a long time. Super cool. Yeah, it's gonna be super amazing. I'm super excited. 5 hours, I know, but soon I'm gonna come back and y'all are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, watch this shit. Watch this." I'll just look at the camera and be like, gay silence. Yep. Oh yeah, I'll wear my horns for sure. Probably not. I probably wouldn't smoke. I'll probably just wait. I might have a smoke afterwards though. We'll see. We'll see. What a pog. The season 2 halfway special. Yeah, it's the mid-season. It's the mid-season epic thing. What time is it? Oh my god, it's midnight. What the fuck? Have I really been streaming that long? Oh my god, it's midnight. Holy fuck. Okay, all right, everybody. I have to go rest. Holy shit, I didn't realize it was that late. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Holy fuck. All right, everybody. Listen, let's go raid out, okay? Let's raid. Let's pick out a raid. And remember, Sunday gaming stream, we're going to do giveaways. We haven't done those in a while. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of game codes on Sunday. We're going to be continuing our playthrough of Resident Evil 8. It's going to be fucking cool as shit. All right? I promise you, it's going to be cool as shit. So make sure you're there. The more people who show up to video game streams, the more frequently I can actually play through games. I move very slowly through them. But, oh god, there's nobody, there's like almost nobody on. All right, let's raid Prime, okay? Let's raid Prime. We're going to raid Prime, okay? Oh, DM it to me, Holic Master, please. Please do, DM it to me on Discord. Everyone, thank you so much for supporting me. We're going to raid out to Prime, and I'm going to say this real quick. Thank you all. Oh, wait, is Riverboat Jack on? I don't see Riverboat Jack. Wait, is Riverboat Jack actually live? Oh, Riverboat Jack is live. Okay, I take it back. We're going to raid Riverboat Jack. Riverboat Jack needs the views much more than Prime does. So Riverboat Jack, out we go. Go enjoy. Go give your love to Riverboat Jack. Love Riverboat Jack, a fellow trans creator. Thank you all so very much for supporting me. It means the world to me. Again, always free, forever. But help me if you can, because I can live a better life and I can take care of my wonderful, wonderful partners and give them a happy life, which is my dream. And you all make it possible. So thank you very, very much, everyone. And I will see you very soon. Okay? Much non-parasocial love to you all. Mwah.